now. Yep, we are live.
Hello.
We're gonna introduce ourselves, Herbie. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying hello.
You can do it. I believe in you.
I expected you to say it at the same time. That's why I said it.
Well, by all means, you can take the lead now, since so courageous.
No thanks. I will pass back the ball to you because the funny didn't work.
Okay. Hello, everyone. We are going to be talking about the new stuff. The Transients, the ARs, and the skill-specific evolutions that released just before this event released. There is a lot to cover, so be forewarned that it could last, I'm guessing, as bad as 2 hours or so, if we are taking our time on this. Feasibly, it could be a bit under it, though, if we're good on our time. But joining us today is, yet again, Zalgas.
Why me first?
Because I'm mixing it up, that's why.
Fine. Hello, it's me again, everyone.
Milk.
Hello, I'm here again.
And Irby.
Hello again for the second time.
And graciously, Irby will be leading the discussion from now on. Go ahead. I'm kidding.
I don't even know what we're discussing right now. What are we starting with even? Is this evolutions?
The literal worst, I think.
Yeah, we're talking about Milk's going first right now with Typhon. So we will go ahead and
okay.
I didn't change the videos, ignore the FCARI stuff in the background. Not enough time to prepare for the stream. Anyway, hello Mark and Javier and Prisma and Duckling Train. Good to see you all joining us. We will be beginning off with Typhon. Irby, if you will take it away for us.
Disgusting.
Wait, not
No.
Irby. Is it Irby? It's Milk.
No, it's not me.
No
I would
way.
never.
Yeah, there's no way.
Alright, I remember Irby specifically requested not to do Typhon. Good times.
So this skill evolution is kind of interesting. So Typhon gets burn strengthening, which boosts his damage by 2.5x if he has burn. So yeah, that's a pretty significant damage boost for him. He can now do 9.1k damage per square by himself. The next bit is...
Oh,
Did you want to interject something?
Yeah, I mean, he was originally a pretty hard hitter when he first released, but the damage, average damage values have eventually crept up, and now it's one of the attacks that's kind of not that impressive. So this will definitely help, provide he actually triggers his charm at least once.
Yeah. So, speaking to that, if you compare to the damage dealt by other magic range damage dealers, Beach and Vari does 13.4k,
if he moves,
but you have to move him for concentration and crit. Sanat is probably one of the biggest still with 16.5k, but you have to roll for everything. And then there's V Kengo, who has
I'm surprised you actually mentioned Sonus, since
to 46k.
I'm surprised you mentioned Sonus because his rates are so low.
I mean, I still use Sanat, so yeah.
I got it off banner one time and I just never used them.
Yeah. Moving on, the next effects that this Skevo has is paralysis strengthening, which is pretty okay. It's just a free 1.4k on CS. It's actually, I think, one of the most important parts of this skill evolution, though, because this sort of all-range CS usually gets tied with Christmas Ryoto. So, yeah, this 1.4k, this 1.4x multiplier actually matters quite a bit, I think. And the last effect is
damage. Yeah.
Yeah. The reason why I say it's the most important is that if you're just insta-charging his CS, you're not going to get burn strengthening, because there's no chance to get burn.
And you have to wait a bit for him. He's not the ideal unit to just charge in turn 1 as a result.
I mean, you can still do it, you just have to lose out on burn strengthening.
No, it's such a good multiplier though.
And then on to the last effects. There's this after debuff guts. My band Typhon is seated, so I cannot give a really good impression to like most people or what most people encounter, but it's somewhat inconsistent because it's 60% and burn lasts quite a bit, so you can't reroll it constantly unless you have some sort of debuff removal or the enemies applying a debuff. I think it's kind of good though, because I always found Band Typhon to be somewhat like lacking in survivability. Some sort of like cheesy like guts is fine, I guess.
I guess he's a bit less like a glass cannon now. With his guts, I mean.
He's more like shittier V Kenko, I guess. But yeah.
A lot of people are like shitty V Kenko. Not many people. There's actually a good number of units that can compete with him this time, though. So we'll talk about that later. But suffice to say, Typhon is joining the ranks in terms of Life Runners finally deciding to add more lethal damage dealers within large range, especially magic range, of course. Although I'd like to see more units in the short range too, because honestly, it's kind of a waste hitting the sides when you're grinding in those tall maps. But yeah, did you have anything else to add? Sorry.
Yeah. There's one last bit that people were very people pointed out a lot, is that this new burn strengthening status makes the Seth Gangly AR sort of shit on him, because that gives burn immunity. So yeah, depends on what you want, but you have to choose between damage or more charm.
I mean,
it's the lore. Gangly is cockblocked now. The ship lore. It's over. Seth cockblocking Typhon.
No, that's terrible.
Makes sense.
That's terrible. I just think the burn was not even a big deal in the first place as a penalty, because he has blessing. Like, who cares? What the hell? So I don't even think it's like a bad thing. I will say that he could be a lot more like useful if you actually bring Smoky God, because you only need that burn to activate once, unlike the charm, which can activate any amount of times, and then he'll have it for 4 turns. So I think in this case, Smoky God would be quite good just for that free instant 2.5 times multiplier with burn.
Right. For me, like, his burn rate is about 50% because I have him seeded, so yeah. He's kind of like Sanat for me. Like with his crit.
Well, that's not guaranteed. Just bring Smokey and I'm sure you'll be good to go for Typhon. Especially you, since you actually have him at 50%.
Yeah.
I don't really have any other recommendations for this unit personally. I mean, it is just one part of this kit after all.
I mean, honestly, it's like just like a damage buff all around, which is pretty welcome because it's a pretty high multiplier.
I mean, that's what people originally used Typhon for, and then he kind of just became relegated as a paralysis dispenser every now and then. But you know, his roots is a.
So he's kind of a mixed role now.
Yeah.
Well, again,
I kind of just looked at the guts and I completely forgot about it, but okay. Any thoughts, August and Ruby?
I think the guts is completely irrelevant, but it's a bit overkill. But sure, it's not adding anything to the kid in my opinion. But okay, sure. I guess now he has a chance to survive at 1 HP, which I don't think it benefits him a lot. Sure.
There you go. There's his burn mitigation guts.
I was going to make a joke about pairing him with someone who can burn him, but the only units who do that are like Tsathoggua and Ifrit,
and they have to die
on leave. Yeah, that wouldn't work out, but yeah, just don't pair him with anyone who removes debuffs somehow, which we'll be talking about later. There's one who does that in this very banner. There's
quite a number of options for that in this banner, actually. Alright, we will go forward, but Milk, would you please read the comments? If there's anything left, is there anything left for you to say, or should you just read the comments now?
I don't really have anything else to say except that he's a better damage dealer now. Okay.
Okay, read the comments.
Let's start. What am I respect? A good luck guy?
That happened before the stream and I have no idea what you're talking about. Just ignore that.
Okay. Hello. Hola. Hi guys. Hiya. The Seth Gangly AR anti-synergy still pains me. Yeah, I guess people who rolled for it for Ban Typhon got baited. Hi. Kangu Supremacy. Charm strats are nuke. Yeah. I feel like Charm is just like shitty, but
I mean,
yeah.
Another reason why I think Smokey will be good is because, I mean, especially if he's seeded, even the Charm will be guaranteed too. And also he does extra damage against Charm, so not important to remember that.
Right. Seth, the local chubby chaser, at it again. Tisk tisk. Yeah, I guess he's paired with Gangly. I don't know about anybody else. Drop the Smoky God Procrate meme. I don't know what Procrate is. Maybe this is something.
Procrate.
Oh, Procrate. Yeah, I guess I'm reading it weird.
I mean...
Limit synergy.
Okay, just to be clear, I don't really believe in Smoky God as much as the others do. Everyone kept on hyping up. I was just like, I don't really see it, but sure. I was just saying, you know...
It's a good meme!
Since burn lasts for a while here, it would actually be good on Typhon, right? You only need the one turn, but then the advantage lasts for 4 turns. So that's why I say it'd actually be pretty decent for Typhon.
Ara slowly converting into the Smoky God cult.
No, I'm just saying it's actually never mind. The next thing we'll be talking about. I'm also gonna say Smoky God, but let's continue reading the comments. Sorry.
Yeah, Burn Baby. Honestly. I don't know. I did the Smoky God combo, and I do like runs with him and with regular Wakan, and he's pretty much fine. Like, the reason why I liked the guts is that in practice it was rather clutch, but I didn't really test like too much, so I don't know. Okay, Ban Typhon plays Baby Shark metal covers. Okay, cool. Hell Hotsprings. Yeah.
There's the subtitle.
Yeah.
I think that's non-English. Hello, person who has a non-English name. I wonder if you can understand this.
LW said, Seth Gangly is a monogamous relationship. Ty Seth Lee broken up. Okay, cool.
Cry. None of monogamy representation in this game. TBH. I am not a fan. Anyway, if that's it, then we shall move on to the next skill evolution. We already talked about this for 15 minutes. Oh boy. And we have a lot to go left. And we are now going to talk about Suzuka, who received an evolution in a separate volume. So if you believe it or not, Typhon's evolution is just in a volume unto itself. So he's paired with no one. But Suzuka, as well as the other Passion League group, this is not even important details, but yeah, they're on the same volume, and she received a better activation rate for her oppression, and a bit of a larger boost for her CP as well. But the more interesting things are the neat parts that are added, which is when she moves, she has more function, in that she has a chance of getting stress range if it's a regular attack, or shot range if it's her charge attack. And of course, if she moves, she can also activate crit at a 50% rate. It's a bit misleading to say 50% though, because if you put it in position with the rest of her kit, which is she also has Glinted Concentration, then it should be around 70%. Not that, because, you know, Concentration and Glint can fail, unfortunately. But I would say that's a pretty respectable rate for something that you can just do for the first turn, since it should be pretty... I have the actual damage here. If she has thrust range with crit and concentration, then she'll be doing 24,000 damage per square. And if she has her charge and inflicts her charge break at Sacred Artifact level 1 with crit and concentration, then that would be 77,000 damage per square. So it gives her a bit of a utility in terms of being a more versatile, longer range damage dealer, as well as more range for her charm spread. But, you know, her charm spread is still kind of shit rate, even with evasion and concentration. So not really something you'll be relying on even now. But yeah, I would say bring her with Smoky God again. It's just incidental, and this time I'm not saying Smoky God is good at something, but, you know, again, like, her debuff charm will actually last for a lot longer, and yeah, she can actually activate a crit guaranteed and stress guaranteed and shot guaranteed and all that. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Fashionista Suzuka. Any other thoughts on that, guys?
I think she's too powerful and must be stopped. She was already the best 4-star in the game, and now this unthinkable. But I don't have a lot of serious thoughts on this, to be honest. It seems kind of a meme skill evolution, to be honest. It does allow her to get a bit more range, but I think this is kind of just like, oh, well, shit, we made her blow range. Well, how do we fix this? We give her a weapon change so she's no longer blow range. It's
a bit odd too, because it's like you don't have an incentive to not change her to thrust range, because you might think, oh, but she has the better multiplier with blow range, but then it's like she gets crit when she moves, so it's like, why not? Like there's never a reason why you'd want her to be in blow range, or in thrust range rather. So it's just strange, like very weird band-aid.
Oh, I was surprised. I was surprised that you said that, because you were like the one to use her so much during coin quests for her to miss. But yeah.
I mean, if you remember why I used it, it really was just for the ardor that only happens sometimes, as well as the extended movement range. And once I managed to find substitutes to have a buff at a better rate, I already substituted her for a very brief time with just a Hogan, because he also misses and he doesn't have any effects that take forever. But yeah, my coin team has changed a lot ever since then. She's, just a kind of a footnote in history at this point.
I mean, she was always kind of a meme anyway. Also, my name is blocking the CS effect. Does that say break?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, just checking. Yeah, I don't really have any particular opinions on this. This doesn't really fix, like, originally she was just supposed to kind of... honestly, I don't even know what she was supposed to do originally. All her rates were so low.
Her thing was supposed to be higher than usual charm, but now it's like we have Tsathoggua Plus, and other units I can just do it much more reliably without the meme of relying on Constitution Glint, which also isn't guaranteed.
I mean, even then, she wasn't that good at charm, because
she was one of the first that had that kind of collateral spread. Yeah,
but then you could just use Typhon and do a magic range at a much better rate and actually do damage. So I always thought she was kind of blah. So I don't think this really fixes anything about her.
Yeah, me neither. She just made into a better damage dealer overall, which she wasn't really in the first place. And I guess makes her, charm actually a bit more practical for enemies that are not directly in the front row. But
they could have at least given her some sort of buff to her charm rate, because 30% these days is nowhere near competitive. It's not even close.
In the very least, because it's all at once rather than with Typhon, where you have to hit everyone. She's better for turns coming, I guess.
Oh yeah, I remember actually doing a solo Fashion Suzuka high difficulty quest just by turns coming, and it took quite a while, but yeah, you could do that. I mean, now you can do that.
There you go. Suzuka, the queen of turns coming.
Now you can do that with more ease. There you go. Skill evolution everyone needed.
I will definitely be using Suzuka in all my runs now. Thank you, Leib.
Now you can spend 2 hours instead of 3.
Okay, I think that's all we have to say about this unit, unless anyone has any other haha jokes to add on how she's the best 4-star in the game.
She's like shitty Tavastar now. TV star.
Oh my god, you guys. Touch star, it's not that hard. Or touch 3, either one, but not TV star. Jesus Christ.
TV star is funnier though.
Oh my god. Alright, I'm just gonna read out the comments. Where were we? This is pretty cool. Wonder if they're giving range expansion stuff to characters like Summer Ombre Tigre down the line. Ombre Tigre, I guess he could use it. I mean, yes, he's blow range, but Single Reload was just about his pull and his taunt guts meme, which isn't really about hitting as it is more about getting hit. So, but I guess any blow range unit could receive this kind of buff. Not to say it's particularly amazing though, because they have to move. This skill Evo is very charming, isn't it?
No.
Only at a 30% rate. This definitely sets a precedent for Evos down the road. I'm not sure about that. it would be a very bad precedent if that's the case. Hey, let's fix all the blow units by giving them a different range. It's like that's just like such a that'd be too sad.
That was what made me laugh when I saw Suzuka's skill evolution. Oh, okay, she's no longer a blow range unit. That's how you fix her. Okay.
Okay, let's wait for all the genuine units to receive an on-move weapon change skill. Blow doesn't exist anymore. Blow's illegal. Let's see. Smoky Smugzuka meme. I mean, it's a decent rate if you actually have Smoky up with concentration and glint. That'd be like 80%. Still not even 100%. Jesus Christ. Closeted Smoky Simp. No! S tier unit because her name is Suzuka, I guess. I dislike the archetype of blow range debuffers. Nice they changed some. I mean, yeah, it is hard to debuff with blow range units with the original Gen 1 stuff. They're a bit better now since obviously the range of the weapon doesn't necessarily entail the range of the skill effects nowadays. So, with that said, I can't really think of any off the top of my head that can debuff.
There's a better one on this banner.
I can't remember, but we'll get to it eventually. Suzuka is the best unit in the game. Someone in the wiki comment has to pull her 5 times. Oh yeah, that legendary meme that Mode prepared. Be sure to see that video. But yeah, that's all she wrote, and we will be moving to the next unit / skill evolution. Starting with Zalgas Tsathoggua. Go ahead.
Alright, so Tsathoggua, Fashionista Tsathoggua. Originally, he was kind of a unremarkable unit. He was kind of designed to be a tank with taunt, tenacity, charm, and regeneration, but all of his rates were bad, and it wasn't really enough to be particularly interesting or effective, honestly, and all he really did was just slow down the game with constant proc rates, especially with the CS. So his evolution, it increases the power of his face start heal by 300, which is alright, no reason not to have it. Makes him a bit tanky. He's going to be taking hits, so that's nice. So he gained, before being hit, he applies evasion in a 199 by 5 times area behind him.
You don't need to say it like that.
I know, but it says it like that, so
just say what that means.
Fine. Basically, it applies to literally every single tile behind Sath. It does not apply to his row, but every single row and column besides that, just row, will be applied with evasion. This doesn't apply to himself, so only for protecting people behind him. It's only at a 10% rate, which sucks, but that pairs with his new unique buff, Taunt Strengthening. While Sath has Taunt, he gains a 60% boost to his proc rates, so that renders evasion as a 70% to everyone behind him. That's actually quite high. 70% is a competitive rate with stuff like defending behind. Example is Yasuyori. I believe he has 76% to the person behind him when he gets hit.
I think he's the highest, actually, Yasuyori, in terms of individual evasion bestowal. That's not for one turn.
Being hit without having to move. There's higher proc rates for stuff like on move, but usually it's not. It's to a limited amount of targets, and there's pretty much nothing to match Sath doing it on such a wide range. Defensive buffs in this kind of spread, I think, is really, we only have Sol, who has protection to the entire board, and that's only for 4 turns.
It's rare, but it could be useful for in the very rare occasion where you need a spread team formation rather than a conjuncted one.
Yeah, so Sath he can defend the entire map, so it's pretty good for especially wide maps. Wide maps, or what's the size of the biggest maps?
It's like 5 times 6 or something.
6, 5 times 6 maps. So he's good for the biggest maps. You can pretty much guarantee that he'll be on the front row if you just place him in slots 1 or 2. The Taunt Strengthening also assists with him defensively, personally, because it will cause him to have a 100% tenacity before being hit, because the tenacity applies before Taunt Strengthening is removed. Unfortunately, because Taunt Strengthening is removed before being hit, it will not apply to Charm and Regeneration, which kind of sucks. But So it goes. I don't know why they needed to make it like that, because it would have only applied to the unit who hit him anyway, but that sucks. Since he constantly reapplies taunt strengthening for the 2 turns where he has taunt, since taunt lasts 2 turns, he'll be defending everyone behind him, so that's nice. Currently, the only ways for Sath to get taunt there are 3 methods. He either CS's, he either gets it from someone who has buff spread, which is that's not very practical, so
because everyone gets taunt at that point. But
yeah, everyone gets taunt, and that kind of messes up with
the actual aggro exploitation, yeah.
Although, I mean, if you just wanted the evasion, I guess you could do that, but you'd have to jump through hoops to do that, like equipping an AR onto Goemon or what's his face, Citangra. And
the last method?
Yes. I don't know why I lost my train of thought there. The last method of gaining taunt is with the new mob, Valiant or Infernal Agent, who can apply taunt in a 2 square range on move. I think it's like 8% rate. So the only way you can do it on demand is with Agent. And Agent can also give him protection, so there is some synergy there. But there's also something to be said about using a team slot on that purely just that, but it would give you very reliable evasion.
Yeah, Agent seems to have a lot of potential with anyone that just relies on taunt for some reason.
Yeah, otherwise, you can just plan to spam CS with Sath, since he generates his own CS pretty fast. On miss, he gains CP, and he has immobility. So the unit who I immediately thought of to pair with him is Daikoku, who gives protection to pair with his tenacity, gives CP, and gives HP. So pretty much everything Sath would want. And Daikoku has to be behind Sath, so perfect location. In future, if we get any units who can bestow taunt besides Agent, they'll probably synergize very well with Sath. But besides that, it's also something to note that evasion is still only a 70% rate. I say only, but that's pretty high, but it's not 100. So
yeah, that's always the caveat of evasion. It's like, if it misses once, you might be kind of super mega fucked and you can't recover from it.
So you might want to consider methods of boosting that. So Glint Concentration, Smoky God, I guess.
For one turn.
You could skill seed him for a nice 80%. You can definitely achieve 100% rate. In fact, there's even an AR that will help with this very problem. But we'll talk about that later. But yeah, overall, I think this evolution is pretty good. Originally, Sath was just a tank who kind of, I mean, he personally was mildly tanky with unreliable tenacity and regeneration.
He was kind of just like
he didn't really
a bit of a selfish tank. Like, yeah, he got aggro, but he couldn't really protect his allies that much. Besides, like, what did he do to his other allies? Give them CP and maybe heal after close, which defeats purpose.
Charm and heal them, yeah. So now he can actually do a pretty good job of defending the team, and in a kind of unique niche of being able to defend the entire board, basically. I guess he doesn't play well with other frontliners, but you know, there are plenty of teams that revolve around like just snipe and shot units, magic range units. So, I mean, you can still pair frontliners with him; they just won't benefit from the evasion. But overall, I think it's pretty good, Evo.
Keep in mind, this is a regular buff, so it can be removed, it can be denied by nullified buff, so, you know, you might end up having your caught with your pants down if you don't pay attention to those.
Just pay attention.
That's impossible. Any other thoughts, Irby, Milk?
I don't really agree, I feel, though. I feel like the taunt is sort of like a once in a blue moon thing with this CS. Yeah. I also don't like how it doesn't affect the phase start ardor, because it's a turn start buff, the taunt strengthening. What's the last thing? Yeah, and he's also way too slow now due to this update.
I don't
so there's no way I'm ever going to use
Everyone is too slow. Everyone is too slow.
But But like him in particular with his like CS that you're trying to do for like every 2 turns for evasion, yeah, that's not happening.
My Shiva strats are also ruined because of this update.
Have you guys sent angry messages yet to Life Wonders?
Honestly, after this stream, I might actually, because my Shiva strats are ruined. I just found out that Shiva takes 1 minute to get his CS done.
Shiva always took that long. That's why I never used Shiva in first place. Well,
No.
and I don't have Shiva.
No, he used to take slightly less time, but now it takes a lot longer.
We have a reasonable suspicion on a particular unit who is fault for the entire slowness of the game, but we'll get that later. But
Anyways, in regards to Seth, I think it's okay. I don't think it's an amazing skill evolution, but at least it helps with his shitty rates.
It gives him something to do.
I guess, yeah.
Are you gonna skill seed him
You
now?
You have
Saga?
incentive to CP, to give him CP, I guess, if you want him to do stuff.
Maybe, I guess. I don't know if I really want to skill seed him. I mean, I do need to dump them on someone, and he's huge, so maybe.
Okay. Well, feel free to read the comments now, Sagas.
Right, where were we? Suzuka's... no. The Greatish Wall of Tsathoggua. I don't know if I'd call him that Great Wall, because even if... Oh wait, did I mention that his tenacity is 100% with Taunt Strengthening?
I don't think you did, but it should be pretty clear from that.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I didn't mention, but with Taunt Strengthening, since it buffs all of his proc rates, his tenacity will become 100%. The charm and regeneration will not, because those are after. So it makes him actually much more reliably tanky by always giving him a defense buff while he's got Taunt on, which was always one of the main problems with him, stupid 60% tenacity. If I use Sath now, is he going to protect my blow units? By using blow units, you have to miss, that's how.
Use Mineaki.
Yes, use Mineaki. The perfectly okay wall of meat. Tsathoggua still feels underwhelming. Yeah, I can still see. I mean, I think it's fine that he can now actually protect his allies, but I don't know, maybe some people just don't like evasion memes. I don't see the point of him still. Just to frontline and protect the entire board, I guess. Sath promotes a gameplay strategy of boring the AI until you win. I mean, it's even worse in this patch. God.
Infamously, the slowest chargers in the game are Tsathoggua and Shiva. As you can see, we have a lot of vocal people for both of these units right now because of that. But whatever, even if they fix it, these guys are still gonna be slow, so that's not gonna be really erased as a problem.
Yes, also, Sath can't equip any of the taunt ARs, unfortunately, so if we get one in the future that taunts and he can actually equip, that would be good. But for now, he cannot.
Don't you know, Zalgas? None units aren't allowed to have broken ARs anymore.
Clearly not.
Well, it's a good thing Mineaki dodged the bullets.
Yeah, Mineaki. Okay, so I think we're done. There's like one more comment if you want to read that, and then we can move on.
Almost he's hot. Almost?
Almost.
What do you mean?
What do you mean by that? How dare?
How dare you?
Okay, anyway, let's move on before we have a husband war. And now we will be talking about the last skill evolution of the batch, covered by our dearest Irby, if you will. Go ahead.
Alright. This skill evolution for Fashionista Zabaniyya doesn't fix anything in his kit. I mean, it does give him an additional, a higher rate for his attack up and blessing, which were pretty okay-ish to terrible, really. But now they are decent enough since they are both when you're attacking and he's short range units. If he hits 3 units, he's 100% going to proc at least once. So it's 70% now, so it's pretty neat, I guess. But that doesn't exactly fix anything. And the new thing he got was the new status that allows him to, when he moves, he gains a new status that when he's hit, he drains 20,000 HP from the attacker and 50 CP as well for 1 turn. So that is pretty huge. he's possibly the highest flat damage inflictor in the game because of this. Even the countdown units.
Yeah, let's. Why don't you list out the other, high damage, flat damage dealers and compare to Zabaniyya?
For instance, we have Necros and Kushi that both inflict countdown, and that's still only 20k HP, which is the same as here, but Zabaniyya has the extra, the additional privilege of being flat HP, which means it's going to bypass all the nullified debuff effects, reflect debuff effects, and even potential immunities. So it's always going to work. It's always at least 90% of the time, but that can be easily fixed with an AR or skill seeds or whatever. It's 90%. It's the usual skill seed bait, but it is really good. It allows him to stay in front and actually drain the enemy's HP. It doesn't necessarily complement his kit that well, but he was always meant to be this unit to stay at the front and be super tanky.
Yeah,
while also providing some support.
My impression of him was he was just a general purpose unit anyways, so that's like, are you gonna enhance his general purposeness, right? So I don't mind that this isn't exactly complementary, because there's nothing specific to complementary. Instead, this gives him a brand new purpose, which is pretty neat, I would say.
It's pretty neat, and this will actually allow more flat damage memes.
Oh my god, RB Life Wonders has been listening too much.
I guess they have, but it's really good. I'm talking about the HP, but the CP depletion is also pretty huge. That's 50 CP depletion is no joke, and it will likely save a lot of people's lives from a devastating CS attack. So yeah, there's not really much to talk about here other than he's just going to be much better at dealing damage. Initially, his damage was okay-ish to mediocre because he only had like attack up, and he had to be hit to get that stigma.
Oh, but the graphic might be a bit confusing here. I didn't realize until now. You know how you told me the rate was updated, or rather I was showing incorrectly?
I'm not actually watching the stream, but are you?
I have the correct one up for the entire kit, but when I put it by itself to show the Evo, it's the wrong one. So just to clarify, it is at 90% when you're fully skilled up. Not 80%, but 90%. Sorry about that.
I don't know what happened there. It was probably some sort of mistake or the wiki parsing problem or whatever.
It's probably not. It probably actually was that for a split second, and then like the wiki just didn't update after a quick correction or something for a while.
Probably something like that. But ever since it went live, it was already 90%. So it's pretty much almost guaranteed to deal that flat damage and potentially hamper the units. I actually recommend using him with other units that require to get hit to activate their skills.
Units like this really, skills like this really make me want someone that bestows combo to the enemy, just so you can punish them even more.
That would be pretty nice. I mean, we already have an AR that bestows anchor to the enemies. Let's get an AR that bestows combo to the enemies. Let's go.
Yeah, for real.
When can we have that? But yeah, it's pretty neat. I think it's going to work really well with units like, for instance, Necros is a good example.
Yeah.
This and Valentine Leech is another example, or even Kanan Kijimuna as well. Units that have very potent effects when they're hit, and that are severely detrimental to the enemy.
I wouldn't necessarily say that Zabaniyya synergizes well with specific people. As more he does, he's very ideal for specific situations now. Like, for example, there's challenge quests with all range mobs. He's just going to bring them all to 1 HP in that case, so that'll be very strong.
And the next turn, if you get an all range,
just tickle them with Echo or
one
something.
damage, and there you go.
That's why I brought Echo for that one video, yeah. Also, he will be able to counter things like nullify damage or damage resistance. But, there was that time in that, what's it called? What was that event? It was like with Cat
It
Nyan.
was-
What was that one called?
Festival, festival which doesn't exist.
Festival something. Yeah, Cat Festival. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there was some enemies that just, could not take damage after you killed one of them. And at that point, you just had to survive. But they had like less than 20k HP, even though they weren't generic mobs. So Zabaniyya would again be very strong for them. You would just need a bit of like true flat damage after that. Then,
Spirit.
yes, Spirit would work actually.
No, not the spirit.
And of course, Charge Denial would be good, as Irby said. Although the timing would be a bit different. It's what's it called? You would have to like let them hit you preemptively, I guess, because if you like see them with a full charge, it's already too late by that point. Because like obviously
Yeah,
it just
pretty much.
charge.
That's his only. He needs to get secrets. So if they have something like gains 100 CP, and the next enemy turns to have shit.
Yeah.
It's
Okay, Irby, speak close to the light, please.
I am trying.
You're doing your best, I know. Any other thoughts, Mook, Zalgus?
When you asked Irby for the highest flat damage dealers,
Oh yeah,
I thought you were quizzing him on.
it was just for the
wanted to
audience
say-
sake, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I
Do
thought
you
you
wanna go over
wanted
that?
him to say Smoky God. Like very
No,
earnest.
I wasn't gonna say that one. I don't even remember he dealt flat damage to the enemy or something. It was like 10k or something.
Yes.
His like best
Countdown.
thing is like minus 8k HP after being hit.
Yeah,
That's what it
the
used him
options
for.
are limited over turns. Like, what's called? We have a Fushi, but that's like only after every 8 turns or something.
Yeah, it's
got-
like some trigram.
I only went for the countdown ones because they're the only comparable ones.
Yeah, honestly, Countdown is your go-to for flat damage. It's kind of sad when you compare to all other flat damage dealers. Like, even Kurugane, who is the strongest, still only does like 8k only per turn. So, Countdown is still the superior landmark for most cases of flat damage. And Zabaniyya just flat out matches it. Maybe even surpasses it if you have someone, the enemy with combo for some reason.
I mean, he already surpasses it because he also has Stigma. That extra 300 damage.
Shut up, Irby. Alright.
Honestly, I feel like Life Wonders heard how much Irby liked Smoky God and just gave it to Zap.
No.
Honestly,
I
yeah,
mean-
this is just it's kind of if you know Irby's personality at all, this is actually just kind of a meme that really rips on it. Him and his flat damage meta preaching every day. And,
This was my gift.
and his slime memes.
Yes, they remembered the slime memes and the Smoky God memes.
And the
They're all-
Valiant of being good memes.
Yes, it's finally here.
Okay, well,
I'm just glad they turned his 40% into 70% because I really hate seeing those low proc rates on Zab. I mean,
Yeah.
his other 5-star still has that problem, but
yeah, they
I
just
guess-
tried that low rate before. I'm guessing because it lasts for a long time, but you want it up right away, right?
They should have given it to Typhon.
so
Or
what
the
attack
charm.
up?
For the charm.
But 40% to 70%.
Oh yeah, they should have done that. Oh well. I mean, 70%. Honestly, I kind of wish it was just 100%, but you can't have nice things.
Yeah, even when seeded,
Yeah.
it's not guaranteed. But once seeded, again, just reiterating the skill acquisition thing, it would be guaranteed. It is 90%, not 80%. Okay, if that's it, then go ahead and read out the comments, Irby, and then we will move on.
So where were we? Almost T-Salt. Okay, that's it. All range and magic range enemies rage quitting. Yeah, that's pretty true. Those are going to suffer the most with this skill evolution.
Yeah.
But when will Fashion Wakan get a skill evolution? Never. That is never going to happen. I'm just kidding.
Fashion
That's
Wakan
fine.
actually gets, still has decent usage even now for some people, so I doubt they're gonna give him an Evo.
Why are people
I
so
also-
fixated on giving him an Evo? It's like he's still good. It's just like
I think people just hate the other fashionista units that much.
I mean, Amatsumara could have used one. Like, yeah, he does Brawn and Notice's Brawn, but it's such an abysmal rate, and also, it's like, whatever, he could just get a damage buff from somewhere else. It's not a big loss.
I don't know what Zab role is in gameplay. he's as Arathon said before. It's pretty much an all-rounder. He's a mixed support of sorts. He's able to give CP to protect his allies, heal, and also amp up their damage as well through stigma.
And he still has that, mind you, so you can still use him for general purpose. But now he also has a specific purpose, which is nice.
Yeah, on his 10th rerun, well, Fashion Wakan's 10th rerun might be coming soon. Corrects on his 23rd rerun. Okay, that may take a while. 2 removed messages.
Someone's been naughty.
I wonder what was said there. I mean, at least, hello, glad to see flat damage meta is still a thing. Yes, it's stronger than ever today. Oh, or well, when this goes. When will we get Maria's second variant to synergize with Fashionista Zabaniyya? Yeah, that would be pretty neat, actually. I like that. Maria deserves a better variant.
Yeah, her current variant is like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's Ardor and Slash.
Dragon
and... That doesn't really serve.
Just say it's shit. No one will ever use her.
Okay, just this one time. It's shit.
all range thinking they're safe. Zab come in and says, "Are you sure about that?" Pretty much. Zim Zabaniyya just use Christmas Taurus mask for his spirit on move, or be a true galaxy brain and give MC the Tangoro.
Oh my gosh, the Tangoro AR does not exist. We'll never talk about that again.
Oh my god, Tangoro AR synergy, finally. We did it. Will this buff activate when Zab is on Guts effect? No, it will not activate after he's at 0 HP. No effects trigger after the units are at 0 HP, not before. Well, outside on leaving effects, I guess.
Does he have Guts? What Guts effect?
I think he means if this effect triggers, if he has Guts, if this effect will trigger when he's at 0 HP under the effect of Guts. Or something.
Oh, I see.
No, it doesn't. The Church of Flat Damagers. I was joking about the Fashion Wakan's skill evolution. Flat is Suzuka's. No, that's mean. No.
Oh my god, but it's true.
I don't have Summer Maria. Is this a blessing? No, it's a curse. You should have her, even if your kid is bad.
I don't think she has blessing or curse. She has stigma though.
What?
Summer Maria. I don't think she has blessing.
She doesn't have stigma.
She doesn't? That's like her thing, isn't it?
No, she has a lot of attack buffs and dazzle with this Beach Babes evolution. And defense up, I think. Doesn't have...
Maria doesn't even make sense anymore.
She doesn't have stigma on her barrier.
He has vigor and crit. Yeah.
In other words, I never use her. Okay, let's just move on. We are finally, after almost an hour in, finally talking about the transients of the actual event. Who would have thought? And alright, so we are going to begin with Horkeu Kamui. This will be covered by Milk. If you will, go ahead and lead the way.
So Horkeu gets a second variant, and here he's a magic range damage dealer. Yeah, so he has 4 sources of damage boosting. One is Nourishment, the other is Burn Advantage, which is a 2.5x multiplier. He gets Attack Up on Move, which is another 2.2. And he also has a damage status advantage against Nullify buff, which he applies face start to all of the enemies. So if you combine all of these, at level 70, he does 18.8k damage per square to enemies. So when I was testing it during farming though, Nullify buff is kind of hard to keep on because enemies can negate Nullify buff if they get a buff. For example, Beach Seth in these farming quests gets regeneration after being hit.
That's
so
after though, right? So he should be able to take advantage of it for the first turn, right?
Yeah, that would be nice, except I need to get other people to hit him to one turn kill him. Yeah.
I see.
Because unless you have Mineaki, then you will not.
I was just
yeah.
I have no problems about that. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
yeah, if he's not hitting first, then that's just a moot application.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm in poverty, so I have to try to get Mineaki and Tanitomo to kill him as well.
It's okay. It's all for Tajikara's variants. Believe Milk, you'll get him.
Yeah. So if you combine all these buffs, you get 18.8k damage per square, which is pretty high. If you remember from earlier,
it's
13.4k was Beach and Vari, and 16.5k was Sanat. So yeah, pretty high. If you don't have Nullify buff, though, it goes down to 12.6k, which is still pretty high. Considering that for like Beach and Vari, you have to move him for concentration, and Horkeu, you just move him once, and then he's like good to go for the next 3 turns. So yeah, pretty cool. The other thing is that there's one really good AR for damage boosting for him, and that's the Marco Tata AR, because that gives him a 2x burn, 2x damage to burn. So consider using that if you have him.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Honestly, Horkeu Kamui plays in very basic roles here, and one of his main roles really is just a damage dealer. So yeah, 2 times damage, it's kind of almost essential for him at that point if you do have it. Yeah, so keep an eye out if you have that AR.
So there's 2 other aspects, is that he has extended horizontal movement, which is pretty good because you want to move him the first turn ideally. And he has some sort of like pseudo survivability. He has this like 70% Mecha Man skill where he gets tenacity before being hit. He has Immortal basically, 60% guts after moving. And he has this turn start healing / CP, which is pretty good for like charging his CS and if you have like some weird stall strategy going on. His CS is a bit weird though. It gives conflagration and bind, but only near the enemies adjacent, and it gives guts to allies. So it's like 3 effects. It can be pretty strong, but I kind of find this bind range sort of weird.
I feel like the only thing you'd be mostly using it for is just that extra damage from conflagration, since the enemies hopefully would be burned at the same time too. But bind's just like, gonna be a bit hard to play around with if they're scattered around.
Overall, it's a very I think it's pretty strong for a magic range damage dealer. It's not very interesting though. Probably the most interesting aspect is this base start nullify buff. But my problem with it was that it doesn't nullify when appearing buffs from the enemy. So if you have like the Wyverns and the seed farming quests, which have guts when appearing, that does not get nullified. So you cannot use it there. But it would be good if you had like some enemies who had phase start or phase start guts or evasion. So yeah, consider that.
Yeah, so essentially just for longer phases, not the ones you intend to one turn. Not to say that Horkeu is not good for one turning. He's good for one turning as well, so consider that.
Overall strong hit, but a bit boring, I think.
I think it's, there's gonna be a lot of what's called 2 brain cell people that like thirst for Kamui, so it's fine. Perfect for them. So, but besides that, he does a decent damage on charge. I should read out the values for him. 33,000 damage per square when he does not have burn up, and 78,000 damage per square when he does have burn up. So, it scales up decently though. And he does have a method to get his charge up too. Every turn start he got 16 CP. So it will happen whether you're planning for it or not.
Oh yeah, his eyebrows are really funny. Yeah, I forgot about that.
This is the first time he actually looks like a Gamma Chaos unit to me. I completely forgot he was a Gamma Chaos unit until he actually in this variant made those cute facial expressions. So way to go, you actually made Kamui someone cute that I would vaguely want to pull forward just because of how they look.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts, Irby, Salgus?
Not really.
Every time I see burn stackables, I wonder where'd Fafnir go.
The one time we could have used burn stackables. But by the way, Life Wonders, if you're listening, you still didn't update the burn immediately AR. It's still only the one burn stack, isn't it?
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna
Why
happen.
do they do this if they're not gonna do it for the one time it's applicable? It doesn't make sense. Shit doesn't make sense.
It's for the extra difficulty, of course. Just
My God.
no. I think he's okay. I also don't have much to add.
Yeah, he is boring. I will say, he's fine.
I'm happy that they added another lethal magic range unit because the selection is still limited for it's usually just like slash units are the strongest ones and maybe like a few thrust units. But magic range units finally they're actually super relevant for clearing certain grind pulls. We had like Envara before in Kengo, and now we have Kamui, so that's nice.
Okay.
I think this is kind of like Valen Kengo, but for people who are too scared to be at 1 HP.
Yes, you didn't mention that.
That is my thoughts on it.
I mean,
though
if
it
the
has a
enemies
lot
have
more
removed
tools.
buffs, so
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's supposed to be defensive, more defensive than Kengo anyways. Kengo's just like living on the edge. This guy is actually preventing the damage in the first place, and on top of being a damage dealer. He is a bit of a tank in addition to being a damage dealer after all. But yeah.
okay. I'm gonna start reading the comments because
Right.
I feel like we shouldn't spend too much time on him. Okay.
Good.
V Kengo, but he doesn't kill himself, and he's hot. Kengo is pretty hot, I think, for a high school student. Message retracted. Cool. BTW never put out his headband, please. I don't know. It's kind of like really funny, like especially on his 3-star if you like see his eyebrows. Nourishment coming from his bathwater. Yeah, nourishment is a common theme of this banner, except for Mineaki, as we'll see later. He's pretty easy to use, but it's really annoying that on his farm quest, there's Seth and Gangly there to delete him.
Just roll
Yeah.
Mineaki and Tanatomo.
Just use Mineaki. There you go.
Yeah, you definitely need Mineaki for those two.
I mean, honestly, even when Mineaki fails concentration, it's just like, even though they're water type, they don't really do any damage to. What's it called?
I mean, they kill
Horkeu.
Horkeu for me if he doesn't get guts. So
They probably don't kill yours because Mineaki's protection.
Oh yeah, Mineaki the OG.
SE so far doing well for me. What does SE mean? Okay.
Maybe like him. I don't know. He just guesses these comments sometimes.
Okay. Just use maxed 3rd anniversary AR in Kamui. That extra 600 attack help him kill Seth and gang late D. Yeah, that's not happening because I have to use the support with the welfare AR. And even that extra 600 attack does not help kill them. I think that might happen if you have like a fully max seeded Kamui, but that's not happening in my support list, surprisingly.
If you think about it, it's kind of mean that Life Wonders decided to put Seth and Gongli on phase 1 for the Kamui stage. I mean, in past events, they used to actually change the attribute so you would be in the advantage. But in this case, they're just like, nope, you need Mineaki too.
They don't even do anything this event. They're just shitters. Okay. Yeah, but you need to use 2 Kamui, so one is probably going to die. If you have the pleasure of rolling him, then sure, you have to use 2 of them. Does Nightglow's Tsathoggua synergize with this Kamui? Nightglow's Tsathoggua synergizes with basically no one, so he does not synergize with Kamui, I think.
He synergizes with Kalki, kind of.
Yeah.
Nah.
Okay. What's with all the burn immunities units? Are you... I swear no other... I don't believe this. If you read... Okay, I swear no other debuff is...
that. Yeah.
Like, I do not believe this. Like, one of the first burn immunity units was fucking Akia Gongen. So, it's actually really recent.
Yeah,
we don't even
a lot
have
lately.
stackable burn outside of enemy-only units. But yeah, burn immunity is actually very, very, very rare. which is really
the only-
surprising considering.
I think they're making it more common now just because conflagration is a thing.
I think the rarer
Yeah.
one is actually freeze immunity. If I
Well,
recall
freeze in
correctly.
general is rare. Yeah.
Because freeze doesn't exist.
The only time
I mean, I
find
guess,
these
like-
is like Cherno or Moritaka.
Yeah, I guess like they've been adding it recently with like the AR, but it's not like a really common thing. Okay. Dizzyingly hot. What true title? Okay, yeah. No, I mean with that AR Kamui after one buff, one hit KO them. Yeah. That is not happening on my team because my only offensive buffer is Tanitomo, who also needs to move. Burn just seems to be a popular debuff with LW. There's just as many units that apply it and do bonus damage to it, lol.
God,
I mean,
wish.
Not really. It's really like lopsided. The resistance is very few. I think there's probably only like 6 at the moment.
That's a good amount, honestly. 6 is like usually you'd think of only like 1 or 2, but
I
considering
mean,
most of them came just recently, I'd say it's a good amount.
yeah. We love a brain dead unit with a 4. Stackable burn when. Eyebrow Horkeu is usable. Fafnir was bored by Kamui. Nucha? I don't know how to pronounce
It's
the
Naja, I
Chinese.
believe, or at least that's how we've been pronouncing it. Naja.
Naja is correct, yes.
Okay. Naja is cancelled. Kamui, the new Vroom Vroom. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he has the flaming Hot Wheels as well, I guess. So yeah, I guess that's pretty true. Okay, that's it, I think. Wait, there's one more. Wait, there's more? Okay. Hot as in he burns people, literally. Yeah. Another win for Tata Marco AR. Yeah, I kind of wish I had it. Like, other than, like, fave reasons, but yeah. Forget burn, let make drain a popular debuff.
No.
Yeah.
For
Hey,
me
mate,
on
we need
this
to-
meta,
Stop! Don't remind me of that skill.
It's funny how Summer Barrel is also brain dead. Brain dead event. It's not really a brain dead event,
Live
but
a hero does
that
not
is only
exist.
something that me and Irby and other wiki data miners probably know about. So yeah. Okay, that's all of it.
Alright. Yeah, let's just move on. Kamui, good but simple.
Too many comments?
Perhaps. Now we are going to talk about Xolotl, which is the slowest unit in the entire game. Okay.
no, it isn't.
What? Is he?
No,
Well,
it isn't.
But I was
But
playing
it
it,
is
pretty
pretty
much slow.
slow,
Yeah, he's up there for sure. But yeah,
especially if you use 2 of them.
oh god, which I haven't.
But I think all after buff units are now very slow as well. So kind of makes
Great.
sense.
All right,
so,
go
so
ahead.
now Leonan Tsathoggua is probably very slow right now.
Wouldn't know.
Right, so yeah, Xolotl has 2 parts to his kit, so I'll talk about the less interesting one first. So he has a number of after buff skills which act as lesser versions of his more interesting parts. So he gains crit and some CP after buff, except it's at pretty terrible rates of 40 and 20%. It can be triggered by his phase start, nourishment, and evasion, which actually have reliable rates. There's roughly a 64% chance if both evasion and nourishment proc, so that's kind of standard crit rates. I did not include tenacity in these calculations, which can also trigger and then maybe proc off crit, but because I didn't want to do a million permutations, so it's actually something better than 64%, but roughly is enough. He does a decent amount of damage on his own. If he has crit and nourishment, he'll deal 13.8, but realistically, he'll probably have his weakness as well. He has a weakness spread on those he hits and behind them at a nice rate of 8%. It's when being hit, so he can benefit from it himself. And he'll deal 33k damage if he has crit, nourishment, and weakness, which is pretty high. His terrible typing notwithstanding.
Plug your ears, Irby.
Rude. Very good.
But yeah, so with nourishment and weakness, he deals kind of not really that great damage at 8.3k, but it's okay, I guess. If you get the crit, there are ways to force it to, or make it much more reliable to trigger if you just give him other buffs anyway. But he also has some flat damage on here, so whatever. So the real jewel of Xolotl's kit is his evasion and crit. Grant evasion after moving and grant crit after moving bestowal to the entire board besides himself, to all allies on the board, which are both at 100% rate, which bestows allies with the skill to give themselves crit and evasion after moving at a 100% rate for 2 turns. So, first of all, being a board-wide buff is really nice. It means Xolotl can function in literally any slot. I mean, ideally he'd be in one of the earlier slots to benefit from weakness, but you can still make use of him in a support slot. The crit and evasion being 100% is great because you don't really get such high rates on a person's native
like
kit.
That,
yeah. So for the first two,
thank God.
So for the first 2 turns, whoever you move is basically going to be a juggernaut. They'll have evasion, so they'll take no damage, and they'll have crit, so they'll do quite a lot of damage. Depending on who it is. Ideally, you would pair this with someone who already has lots of buffs. Well, it depends on what you're going for, but if you want to just try and all-out blow someone up with the crit, then ideally you would use someone who already buffs themselves with other buffs besides crit. So some of the examples I thought of were Jamboree Muritaka, Valentine's Kenga, Onsen Kamui, Festival Licho, and Summer Shiba. They all have to move to get the most out of their kits for damage, and you'll also give them evasion to retaliate or prevent really any retaliation. This, of course, can be supplemented by remove buff and whatnot, but it's definitely a good skill for just those first 2 turns. It's also every phase, so you can start off every phase very strong, just blowing shit up and preventing retaliation. But besides all-out offense, I guess you could just use it for evasion bestow, but there are other units who can do that too, like Shenong or
Gunzo.
Gunzo. Wakan. The evasion is a lot more common, but pairing it with crit at 100% rate is quite unique to the entire board, which is great. I mean, it's only for who you move, so pick your unit wisely, I suppose. In summary, I'd say his main attraction is really the evasion and crit to the entire board, and just turning someone into a big juggernaut. And he provides his own minor support, I suppose. But yeah, I do think the evasion and crit are pretty nice and unique. Kind of supporting someone indirectly, I guess. I'm not sure if you would call it directly or indirectly at this point, but I like that skill for sure. On his own, he's not really that impressive. His rates are all kind of low besides his weakness. Also, his CS is whatever. He gives
Honestly, I think his CS is actually really good, though.
I think it's
It
I
can
found
trigger
his CS
his
useful
crit.
too.
It
Yeah.
can trigger his afterbuff effects. It's pretty neat.
Yeah,
I guess.
And
suppose.
in addition, it lets him kind of be like have his own pseudo range if he charges. So
Yeah.
because he switches right after to slash, and he always gets combo that he hits. So as a result, like he'll be able to do magic range damage and then switch to slash range, and it'll be a bit weaker because combo penalty, but the charge itself also like deals some flat damage to those in slash range. So I think
And
that's a neat
hopefully-
kind of synergy.
And hopefully you'll get a full multiplier crit out of it as well.
Yeah.
It's not common to that.
Yeah, I found him useful for drop quests for being clutch and clearing like enemies that are both far away as well as nearby him in slash range. Then
I guess you will get another 64-ish% proc rate from both reflect debuff and combo. So for triggering crit, that is.
Yeah, and it's like per unit hit too. So
Is it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, if it doesn't apply, yes. After
yeah,
applying.
I guess so. Right, if they have a debuff, then
But the extra flat damage is pretty significant. The more units you hit.
of course Irby would emphasize that. I mean, I agree too, but yeah. So Xolotl, I think is gonna be one of the crux units nowadays for supports to bring with you, joining along us with the newer units such as Fushi and Yoritomo. So It's cool that Life Wonders is actually providing more offensive supports, because usually supports in the past have been like at best defensive that you have to move, but now it's just you can put them there and they don't care about turnover to make your entire team stronger. So thank you, Life Wonders.
I think Xolotl is a pretty strong team, and it brings a lot of new team building options to the game with these grunts, crit after moving, and these effects that give other people that need to move effects that they don't natively have already. It is a pretty neat concept.
Yep, I agree. And also, I agree with the concept of you speaking closer to the mic. But otherwise,
No.
Did you read out the comments from this already, August? You didn't, right? Go ahead and read it.
Yeah, I read out the comments.
You did?
Let's move on. No, I didn't.
All right, go ahead.
Did we read the why does Horkeu have the fire wheels with him?
Probably.
No, we did not read it.
I have no idea why he has Hot Wheels with him, but they're there. I actually have zero idea why. Oh yeah, something else talking with Ara about for the variants for this is that bizarrely none of them have any references to other characters, which is like the first time in a long time that variants haven't had that.
They do have. Daikoku does have reference to.
Does he?
Yes, the
Yeah,
snowman.
he has a Toddy Hogan Oguchi snowman.
Yeah, they have snowmen.
I didn't notice either.
Oh yeah, I see them now. I
Yeah.
think the other people do that.
How
Well, maybe
do
they
you
do.
how do you pronounce Takimaru's artist's name? Like RYBIOK?
Right.
Yeah.
I just
I never
say
tried this
Rybiok or Rybiok.
Yeah, he pointed it out really fast, and I noticed because I was looking at Boku Josh's tweets for his Daikoku SALV, which is surprisingly only 31. So, fake stan.
Ask him to whale ball.
I think he said he wasn't going to be able to max SA Daikoku this time or something.
No, he must fund the game for us.
Yeah. He's joining me in
I think
boarding for Annie.
Yeah, he's waiting for anniversary, I think.
I see.
Waiting for the probable rerun banners.
Yeah.
Fair enough. That feel when I spent 600 stones on La and got no 5 stars. That really sucks. Games, I would prefer if more games had pity rates and whatnot, but
Just
so
pull
goes.
better.
Yeah, it's just bull better. Charlotte or Hermana, please come home. Charlotte has the downside of making you age a year each time you use him. I have not tested him yet because I've been doing the tour quest only, but I dread to think how slow it is.
I was falling asleep in my own stream when I was doing the Y quest just because of the double Xolotl slowing down the entire game, making you see all the after effects.
Double Xolotl and Sarutahiko make everything very slow.
Send angry messages, please. I don't have Charlotte, so I watch gameplay. Why is he so slow? It's thought that the implementation of the new character Zhurong might have
Something to do with it, yeah. Well, we'll describe it more later, but
changed things that have caused it to slow everything else down, which is entirely possible because.
And the reason why Xolotl is just like amplified because of that is because he just has a bunch of effects going off his multiple after buff effects.
So it has
and multiple board effects too.
Rolling.
Yeah.
Just take a nap until he's done with his procs. Xolotl's combo on CS is what Summer Shiva needed back on the River event. Wasn't LB complaining about that?
Yeah, I kind of wish Summer Shiva did have this combo, but I guess we can't have everything.
Xolotl took it.
Xolotl took it.
Well, don't worry, Xolotl will give him crit on move instead, and then Shiva can go blow everything up. The true treasure of this event, God tier art and the ability to give guaranteed crits make a lot of on-move DPS fun to use. My festival lead show feels so satisfying. Yeah, I imagine doing the big Illuminati pyramid with the crit, vigor, concentration is probably pretty nice.
Yeah, finally we can use damage dealers that are dedicated to move instead of saying just use Lianin.
Well, about that, something I didn't mention is that in the event that the unit in question who's moving doesn't have Ardor and Vigor, or at least 2 of Lianan's 3 buffs, then Lianan will technically be stronger.
Yeah, we get it. Jeez.
So, because, like, 2x2 for any of those buffs.
You
is
heard it
equal.
here, folks. Because Lianan exists, they're gonna give every damage dealer at least one of Vigor or Ardor.
Yeah, well, they would need at least 2 to match it, but yeah, just use a damage dealer who gives themselves more buffs to equal Lianan's, I guess. But I mean, the evasion is also a strong consideration because Lianan gives no defensive buffs. In fact, she kills your target unit. But
oh my god, Gen 5 meta.
Oh my god, no.
He still hasn't got his Xolotl giving it people evasion and crit after moving feels so nice to activate for any unit on the team. I don't know, Lianan probably doesn't appreciate it. That being said, I had suspicions that the reason for the slowdown is the game taking time to confirm something, and if it happens to be Xolotl's passives, well, people think
We'll get to it, don't worry.
that is Zhurong, but
Yeah.
Xolotl synergizes pretty well with movers who cannot protect themselves, like Tanatomo, which is a bless. Also, Tindalos, if you get the timing crit on move each 3 turns, you'll get both crit and evasion. Well, I wouldn't bother using it on Tanatomo, really. There are ways to defend him, like using Yasuyori, which is like the go-to pairing. Since he doesn't really take advantage of the attack very well. I mean, I guess you could make him do decent damage like that, but as for Tindalos, I did actually think about that. On phase 1, Tindalos will never be able to take advantage of either the crit or the evasion because Tindalos works on a 3-turn clock. Yes, you really wanted me to say that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Where for the first 2 turns he gains evasion, and then the third he loses evasion, but he gains crit plus. Is it just plus or plus?
I think it's crit plus.
Yeah,
Maybe.
well, he gains crit plus or crit plus, and CSs, but he also gains weakness. So on the first turn phase, he will never be able to take advantage of that. But if you on the second phase onward, if you enter it in a different multiple, then you could have Tindalos cover his CS turn with a crit and evasion to cover his weakness. So that could be a strong combo if you go, well, not for phase 1, unfortunately, but it is something to consider if you're planning for the phases after.
I'd rather just consider Kotaro, but okay.
I was going to say Kotaro, but I didn't want to. But yes, Kotaro would appreciate having the guaranteed evasion, so he can tank, and then having the crit to further buff his ludicrous CS. This is for later, unlike any color seen on Earth. I'm going to guess that's for Zhurong, but Horkeu has Kenta's doggo, I think. Oh, is that what it was?
I mean, it looked vaguely like Inugami, but it looked also kind of different, so I didn't mention it.
I mean,
I was like, why would it? They never interacted, did they?
Both dogs, I guess. Crit plus. Okay, so yeah, but
Okay, I was mistaken.
Tindalos can definitely use the crit, but only on the second phase onwards.
I was thinking of Hercules, who does crit plus to self every whatever it was turns, and Necros, who does crit plus on charge. Guess not everyone has a privilege. Oh well. But yeah, are we all done talking about this? Actually, I'm not even gonna bother asking that. Let's move on to the next unit. We will now be talking about Daikoku. This will be covered by Irby. So, go ahead.
Alright, Daikoku's kit is a bit of a meme, to be honest. He starts off by applying Boardwide Curse at 9%, which is basic skills and break, which is like, wow, this is actually amazing. But no, the curse isn't actually primarily there to take advantage of the damage reduction from the enemies, even though it can be used as such, and it can be potentially useful. He's primarily used to be able to deal a large amount of damage.
It really is large. We'll get to values later.
It's not really that large, but it's decent enough for a magic range unit.
Really, I'd say it's large. I mean, it's not like, game breaking large, but for
I think
a
it's
4-star
comparable.
that's self-sufficient, it's pretty large.
From what I gathered, it was around 12k, I think.
Yeah, that's right. That's compared to
it's pretty decent for one turn wipes on the board.
Yeah.
for clearing smaller quests.
And Vari's
it's
like,
pretty-
what's in Vari's damage again? It's like less than
It's
10k
think it's
without concentration.
concentration is 13k, so it's basically comparable to Anvari after moving.
Yeah, and he doesn't have to move. That's great.
But there is a small caveat to this. I say this that he's mostly a one unit after this, because after he does hit units, he removes a debuff from them and applies curse resistance. Now, if the units already have other debuffs and somehow this removes that debuff, the application of curse resistance will remove curse anyway. So it's not gonna help. The curse will be removed no matter what.
Curse resistance wouldn't actually remove curse. It would just prevent future application.
It would still remove curse because it applied on an after buff effect.
Would it? I
Yes,
guess
it would.
after buff effect, after buff.
It applies a buff, so it would basically recalculate the curse effects.
No, that I don't think that's how it works, because in Fashionista Sot's skill evolution, they actually implemented a dummy buff just for that to happen.
Yeah,
But yeah.
There's just like a. Can you describe it in more
What
detail?
was that dummy buff?
Yeah, so for refreshing the status list, Life Wonders made this no effect dummy buff for Fashionista Sot's like skill evolution, so that like he applies technically like a dummy buff after he what is it?
What was it?
Like
Taunt?
removes. Yeah, like when he like removes the taunt strengthening, like when he gets the status that removes taunt strengthening from himself, he like applies a dummy buff to himself,
Is
which
it like
does
taunt
nothing.
resistance?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it gives.
But
him,
well,
like,
it's not taunt resistance, the taunt strengthening resistance. But yeah,
Oh yeah, taunt resistance, right?
That is pretty dumb, but I guess that is how it's programmed.
Yeah. So
Even still, it's a pretty big gamble. Returning back to the case, it's a pretty big gamble if you're going to remove the curse or not. So even if you could potentially fill the enemies with debuffs and not remove curse, the enemy would probably recalculate the curse anyways.
It's just gonna be probably not worth the effort to reapply curse without curse resistance.
It's gonna be gone.
Yeah, for sure.
Almost assuredly in realistic scenarios. And he deals 6 times damage against enemies with curse, which is pretty big. It's essentially crit plus without it being crit plus, and it's extra damage that he gets by just existing pretty much, and that can stack with all other buffs. He also gets an additional help with damage with this phase start nourishment, which is, as said before, is a recurrence in this event, or almost all units have nourishment in this banner. Mostly because they want them to synergize with a unit that has yet to be taught again. And he also removes a debuff. Now, when I said that he was essentially a burst unit, he still has some utility even if the board is still even if there's still enemies in the board and there's no longer any enemies with curse. Take advantage of this. You can still provide some support to the allies by giving them glint and vigor at very low rates, but since it's magic range, it is pretty they're pretty acceptable rates for magic range.
RB says as the treatment user.
I disagree.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they are acceptable rates for magic range, at least for the glint, and vigor is alright as well. It's going to recalculate 5 times if you hit 5 enemies.
Yeah, just hit 5 enemies, obviously.
Just hit 5 enemies, easy. And another neat thing with his curse resistance is that on his CS he applies buff reversal that can take advantage of this curse resistance. This is essentially
yeah, this is a strong charge.
It's essentially just so, okay, if they have curse, he's going to deal a lot of damage, but if they don't have curse and have curse resistance, it's not going to deal as much damage, but it's still going to deal some damage because of the buff reversal advantage. It's still going to deal a significant amount of damage. So you can potentially time this CS if you really want to take advantage of the curse. And the enemies also have buffs on them, so you can take advantage of the buff reversal as well. I personally don't think it's worth it. I think it's a lot better unit to just bring to farm quests and just one-shot every enemy on magic range and just move on.
Yeah, it might be helpful in certain challenge quests, this effect. Remember, buff reversal doesn't scale with status level. It's like as strong as it's ever going to get, no matter what your sacred artifact level is, which is why I think it's strong.
Yeah.
But
also, he
Good.
he also has some pretty big memes. I don't know if you have the chart up.
I do. Sorry, I had it up and then I wasn't sure if you were talking about it, but it's up now. Good.
Basically, he has this meme of bestowing the entire party and himself as well ally HP recovery when leaving, which essentially turns your team into the last Summer River Adventure challenge quests for 5 turns. Basically, only one unit will be able to die every turn.
Interesting graphic, yeah.
Even though it says it's a buff on the wiki, it's a lie. It's actually not a buff, and it can't be removed.
Yeah, so it's just it's a thing. We haven't really characterized what it exactly is yet, but it's suffice to say it's neither a buff nor a debuff. It's just a status of some kind with properties we haven't fully understood.
It cannot be removed. I tested this with Shooter. It still goes on. So I don't think it's going to be particularly that useful, but I guess if you're using very risky strategies and or something like that to clear the board quickly, I guess it could be potentially useful. Also, he's immune to countdown, which not a lot of units are, so that's pretty neat. I think only Necros is still the only unit that is immune to countdown, I think. So having another one is pretty neat. I did put some recommended ARs from him. There's actually a lot of ARs that deal extra damage to curse to help increase his damage, his burst potential. Like the C3 AR, which gives him a 1.6 multiplier, or even the Barghest AR gives us a slightly less multiplier, but helps him charge faster if you want to take advantage of that CS for some reason and on a later phase, something like that. I also put the Alice and Volos AR, even though they're not really very synergetic. I mean, if you want to use them for the potential team support, sure, go ahead. It would help a lot on buffing the rest of the team with Vigor, at least.
Yeah, I agree with all that. One thing I'd like to add on top of him just being an Unga Bunga damage dealer is sort of like the new Horkeu Kamui. You can also just bring him just for like the curse and not care about the rest of his kit, since he does curse everyone on phase start, just in the same way that Horkeu Kamui applies nullify debuff to or nullify buff to all the enemies. So
you'll just have to move him to the bottom of the map so that it doesn't remove the curse.
Yeah, I mean it could happen, but besides that, also his charge, as strong as it is, there's an extreme downside to it, which is he doesn't have a single ability that gives himself CP up. So it's just like, either hit a bunch of enemies for several turns or have a team specifically designed to get his charge up.
Yeah, that's exactly why I thought the Barghest and Kente were actually better, because they actually do provide him some CP at phase start.
A tiny bit.
Just luck.
It's
a tiny bit, but he is magic range, so he generates CP very fast if he gets a lot of units.
You say again as a Triton user.
I mean, I know this because it is annoying to get magic range charge up on him, at least. So here it's actually beneficial to him.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, keep it in mind, it is worth building up towards, but it's not going to be easy to build towards his charge, for sure. All range, powerful debuff, you don't get that very often. We only have a few other cases like Typhon was paralysis, Guillemot was fear, and actually a number of units have fear for some reason. And no one has charm yet at all range, unless it can Fushi. Not Fushi, Ketchi. And we have a few, like Malkon for bind and double lock for Tanjiro. And I think that's it. But yeah, he will go up there again as one of the board-wide debilitators, if he can get his charge up, for sure. Any other thoughts on this unit before Irby reads the comments?
I had some thoughts about curse resistance. This is a buff, right? So
Yep.
you can nullify and remove it.
Mhm.
So I was trying to test around it. Well, at least because I had to like do Horkeu. The nullify buff kind of leads into it. It's kind of hard to play around with the remove debuff because of it'll probably remove curse anyways, but I kind of think it's interesting that curse resistance is just a standard buff that you can remove and nullify.
I mean,
So I feel like there's some synergy to exploit there.
they gave it all the same icon, all the resistance statuses, and I didn't even put it up here as in its own status because it's the same, just different status. 4 turns
Honestly,
buff.
I hate that they did this because when you start having a lot of units with these sort of buffs,
It's gonna be hard to tell.
you have no way to tell. You have to actually check the statuses. Oh, which one of the nullifies is up?
I mean, they're usually at high rates anyway, so just assume all of them.
I kind of wish the enemy list was better formatted because you can't see once you get past a certain number of buffs and debuffs. Just reminded me of that.
Well, I don't mind that they use the same icon because the alternative would be having like a shitload of new icons just for every single status for resistance, and I don't have enough space in my server to add all those emojis as like statuses. So I'm good.
You don't need all of those emojis. On the subject of being able to remove curse resistance because it's a buff, I did talk about that with Aaron about how you could maybe take further advantage of Daikoku's curse multiplier by removing the curse resistance and then reapplying curse. But at that point,
Seems very...
you're sacrificing probably 2 team slots because I think the only units who could remove a buff and also curse is Beach Seth and who was it that I said yesterday? I don't remember. But there's only 2 units who do it, which is extremely impractical. So at most you're going to be sacrificing 2 slots to try and power up Daikoku, at which point you're probably better off just taking another magic range nuke unit and
just put Lianen behind him. Just there you go.
Yeah,
Ensure they do not live.
So I think the massive cursor advantage is kind of cool, but they gave it such a strange limiter that I mean I guess he's a
that's the
4-star.
point. Otherwise, he'd be way too overpowered if you just like that powerful for it like constantly.
I mean, I guess he's a 4-star nuke, so that's something unique. But
well, they gave the multiplier to Jugo, right? It's like 5x. But yeah. This is a joke, but what is it? There's I know it's like shitty, but he also can do the remove debuff thing, right? Or you can refresh the debuff, right?
Refresh
like
debuffs?
a sphere.
Yeah,
because he does.
I was talking about those Zalgas before. Yeah, he doesn't reapply them, but it's as long as you can reapply it with the proper unit properly, then yeah, you can perma fear or perma paralysis the unit in place. So it's nice that the banner is giving us more options for debuff refreshment. I mean, this isn't even the best option yet, but
also,
we'll get there.
I am very happy that we are getting nether damage dealers at last.
Yeah,
Heracles.
That Heracles isn't real.
Everyone keeps on forgetting about Heracles. He still has one of the most impressive damage in the game, whether he charges or not.
It's okay.
I'll just leave it to borrow sense do all the Heracles clears.
People just
it's like,
oh yeah, his guts clears.
Wow. But yeah. Any other thoughts, or can I read the comments?
I think you can read the comments. Yeah, good.
Oh, I forgot to say something. The title of this card makes me sad.
Yeah, it does. It's pretty sad. Especially if you read his description. It's like he's smiling this thing, but his entire research file is really depressing.
Let's check here.
Oh wait, I remembered something. Countdown resistance is Smoky God. Yeah. Okay, that's it.
What?
Oh yeah, you mean another person has countdown resistance?
Oh yeah, you no. He was using it.
Oh, I see.
I guess you could use him with Smoky God. Now you can use Necros and Daikoku with Smoky God. And someone with the Fisher King AR. There you go. The perfect team. except
You have to wait every 7 turns or something.
Where were we last time again? Horkeu has Kinta's doggo, I think. Was it right?
Yeah, that was the last one.
I think it's Foot Daddy, right?
No, there's Crit Plus here.
Yeah, that was for the Teen Duel stuff, so it's
okay.
Foot Daddy.
Oh, it's Foot Daddy then. Okay.
Everyone seriously talking about Foot Daddy. Can we just move on to Foot Daddy?
Jerbear said, step on me, Daikoku Sensei. Daikoku's so good. So-called free thinkers when Daikoku feet. Damn Tsath is dummy buff. Yeah, I honestly saw the dummy buff thing and saw people talking about it. And I was just like... I am still very sleepy and I do not want to understand it.
But yeah, it's just to confirm, we were kind of talking about it esoterically, just to make sure everyone's on the same page. These resistance statuses don't actually remove the debuff; they just make you immune to it in future applications of any kind of a buff. It removes it if you already have it, and another buff is applied, but the application of the resistance itself does not remove it. So, I hope that's clear enough.
Is there a way to steal curse resistance? Yes, there is. It is just a normal buff, so theoretically you could just steal it with another unit. I don't know why you'd want it, but I guess there isn't. Oh yes, there already isn't a curse immunity AR, I think, so... Still.
You can use Goemon to steal it, and then, yeah.
Yeah, Goemon or Kimun CS, yeah, there's a reply. A message was removed. Oh, alright. Yeah. Takemaru found his weave snatched as Daikoku got an ult. I mean, Takemaru already had his ult, so...
I think he's just referring to, what's it called? Him being a magic range damage dealer. Finally, we can retire 3-star Takemaru instead. Go on with more modern magic range damage dealers.
Alright, yeah, finally we can use magic range damage dealers that don't die in a single hit.
And that don't charge every second turn.
Poggers! Daikoku and Mephistopheles would be interesting. I guess.
Daikoku and Lianan would be interesting.
There you go.
I think Lianan would be better, but I guess if Mephistopheles dies, I mean, he has the advantage of being immune to the countdown. Which is okay, I guess. Well, and this Daikoku though, what does Volk can do? I'm not seeing the synergy here. I remember he has curse strengthening and he has this non-buff.
Yeah, isn't the curse strengthening for himself though, not the enemies?
It's for himself. It's not.
Does he even apply curse to the enemy? I forgot.
I don't think he does. In fact, he would hate having the curse resistance because that would actually turn him into shit. Because he needs to be cast.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Oh, there's already a comment here. Volk doesn't really want enemies to have its debuffs.
Is it like because Daikoku can like remove debuffs and like Volk has non-debuff weakening or something?
I mean, yeah, but he also applies a buff, so it's. So
what do you mean a buff?
My brain is shrinking right now.
The curse resistance. He removes a debuff, but then he also applies a buff on them. So.
Right, but it's a non-debuff weakening. Right?
Oh, it's non-debuff weakening.
He has non-debuff weakening? I completely forgot that.
but then why bring Daikoku at all?
So that they don't have the debuff. Yeah. I see what Milk is saying. You remove the debuff so that both can take advantage of a non-debuff weakening, I guess. But he applies curse himself.
Yeah,
it's like,
it is.
I don't really get this.
Yeah,
I don't get this.
Just put that in the icebox. We'll take your recommendation into consideration later.
I'm not. Yeah, other than possession, imagine if we get a challenge quest where curse is the main gimmick and you nullify it by stealing and spreading curse resistance to Goemon. I don't think that will ever happen, but.
I mean, it's like it could happen, but it's like curse isn't
if it
that
happens
bad.
on this CQ, and we just fight a super buff Daikoku.
I'm interested to see what happens in the CQ because there's so many new mechanics in these units that like.
I think we're just going to have another Summer River challenge quest with you can only kill one unit at a time again.
I mean,
because of Daikoku. Right. So yeah, we're probably gonna have that here in this one.
We shall see. I'm excited.
I still use Hercules. The resistance buff is curse.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, let's move on. Whew. All right, we are approaching the 2-hour mark, and we will continue with Zhurong, who is not actually Zhurong from mythology, according to his research file, but we will talk about that some other time, and by some other time I mean never. So Zhurong is red panda, and he's super cute, and he's mine, so no one else can have him. But other than that, he is also he plays a new role in being able to refresh all debuffs. So the nearest parallel we had to this before was Alice 4-star, was her ability to remove all buffs and debuffs, but she didn't reapply them. As well as Goemon, who was able to refresh a single debuff. There are some minute differences that makes you want to consider one versus the other. For one, Zhurong actually refreshes all debuffs on the unit he hits, but Goemon, even though it's only a single debuff, and even though he has to deal with that obstruct shit, he is able to spread the debuff to everyone in magic range, whereas Zhurong is only the unit he hits. So, pick your poison, might work for each, but yeah, his debuff refreshment actually works in conjunction with his debuff penalizing ability, where he gives the enemy a skill that is effectively a debuff, where if they are debuffed, then they receive 2k flat damage, which means that when he refreshes all their debuffs, for every debuff that he refreshes, they will receive multiply 2,000 HP loss times how many debuffs they actually owned. And I guess that could stack up to quite a bit if you strategize around putting as many unique debuffs on the enemies as possible. So I would recommend in that case using Summer Shenong, who has stackable poisons, fatal poison, I believe, or is it regular poison? I think it's fatal poison, yeah. And as well as anyone that just has a bunch of different debuffs, such as Necros and Bacchus. Very perfect match for Zhurong to just maximize the amount of flat damage he's applying. Of course, this is a flat damage centered ability, so you may just be better off using some sort of like scaling damage user. But otherwise, if you need flat damage, Zhurong might be your guy. And besides that, he actually, for his 4-star, unlike his 3-star, his 3-star lets him applies that same debuff skill on the enemy, but his 4-star actually applies a slightly distinct one that takes away slightly more HP. So the thing with this is that if you have combo up on Zhurong, that you can apply both decrease 2k HP after debuff as well as decrease 3k HP after debuff, and so that would effectively decreasing 5k HP after debuff, and he would just be refreshing a bunch, especially with combo. So combo would be good from no matter what, so that he just doubles the amount of flat damage he's doing with all these debuff refreshments. But yeah, it's kind of complicated to explain it all, but essentially he refreshes debuffs, which is quite strong for, if you want to just stall them with fear or paralysis or something like that, as well as penalizes enemies that have too many debuffs, so 2k for every single debuff they have. And besides that, he has another minor role, which is the thing we've been hinting at throughout this entire stream, which is he is able to steal HP and CP from the enemy through flat damage and a flat CP drain. And this is distinct from just being equal from healing as much as he's doing flat damage, and from gaining CP to himself as much as he's draining CP from the enemy. The distinction is that he will only gain as much HP as is drained from the enemy. So if they have less than 300 HP, they only have 200, then he's only gonna take away 199 and leave 1 HP remaining. And if he's draining an enemy that only has 15 CP, then he'll reduce all their CP and he'll only gain 15 CP from himself. Now the thing that we've been hinting at with this unit is that due to the data structure of this effect, the steal effect, it is found somewhere else in a completely different category of game data from all the other effects. All other effects are found in some sort of category called Master Skill, but the steal effect is found under Master Skill Effect, and the wiki was kind of not showing the correct thing for a while as a result, skipping out on the whole steal effect entirely for a moment of time. After that fix, we had to, it seems one of our wiki editors had to cross-reference the skill the master skill effect page, which led us to speculating that in order for this to happen, now every skill has to be cross-referenced against a master skill effect, which means every skill is now that much slower and looking at inside a different file, being pointed from the original master skill file. But yeah, it's a bit crazy. But other than that, I think he's neat that he's all range for his 4-star, and he is an AR guy, and he's super cute again, and he's fine. And I
hate him because he slowed the game.
Yeah. Maybe one day I'll forgive him for that. But yeah, he also does his stealing thing for his charge too. So, very amazing effect on the entire game. Very not so amazing effect for himself. I guess those are my thoughts for this unit.
I think he's a pretty neat unit. More flat damage memes. Let's go and refresh.
Oh yeah, he applies 2 debuffs for himself for darkness as well as conflagration. So you might want to pair him also with a burner to actually amplify that flat damage.
It's pretty funny, but you can actually use him to solo the Azathoth refrain quest because of the darkness and the life and CP steal. So yeah, he insta charges his CS basically due to the all range CP steal. Yeah, it takes 5 minutes though, so yeah.
I'd like to see a video of that if you have it, but
yeah, I have it recorded, but yeah.
Alright, I will look forward to you sharing that.
I do not have too much to say about his kit, so instead I'll talk about how he has a bunch of ARs scattered around him, and there are a few spoiler ARs, so that haven't been released yet. So take a look at that if you're interested.
Thank you, Zelgus, for your non-kit input.
Wait, what ARs are you talking about?
A few of the ARs around him haven't been released yet. I'm pretty sure, like
a Mori one and a Jamboree one.
Oh, right, the ones on the art, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's only the Ryota one and the Mori one.
Yeah, Ryota and Mori. There's one that looks like a bunch of lanterns or something. I can't tell if that's just like a dummy one. There's a behemoth one. I'm not sure if that's the... that doesn't look like the Z's one, so yeah. There are a few things hidden there, maybe.
That's probably
maybe he took a picture of the Surtur Arc AR where they die.
That awkward moment.
How has he been to all these areas?
I like how he has 2 Kurogane ARs, though.
So I guess this means Zhurong is everywhere at once for ARs.
It's just
he also,
looking at
he also has the
Elite AR. For some reason, there's something wrong with Elite AR there. It's like a different background or something. It's like, maybe it's like a beta version of it or something.
They tried their best.
I mean, they could have... I don't understand why it's different, since... Well, I guess it's different because it's a photo, not just some, over-exaggerated anime background thing. Anyways, Zhurong cute.
Kind of hard to tell. It's very like blurry.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a different background, so... Can we, talk about the kit, though? Anyone else has any comments on the kit?
Good meme.
Maybe I'll just go to the comments if that's...
He charges very fast, which is pretty neat.
I mean, yeah, if the enemies actually have CP, then it is a respectable amount he's taking.
We talk about, the movement restricting because you're refreshing debuffs. Because I feel like most of the focus has just been on flat damage, stacking.
Well, the refreshing debuffs I did mention in terms of you could just indefinitely hold them with the fear or something like that.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I actually had a point, but he is kind of designed to synergize with the other limited variants because Horkeu has Face Dart Nullify buff, Daikoku has Face Dart Curse, so this is kind of like him tying in with the other people. And of course there's Mineaki, but that's way too slow to deal with.
He synergizes the best with Mineaki because it's a lot of debuffs, but yeah, very slow because of the new update.
Well, again, anyone with a lot of debuffs would synergize with him is what I was saying. Plus, Summer Shenong, since he has that unique stackable debuff thing.
I would say Summer Shenong, but I feel like you should just have the people die if you're going to use Summer Shenong. Yeah.
I mean,
Oh right, Summer Shadow must be very slow now.
Oh yeah.
he was
I need to
ridiculously
test
slow when
that.
I first when I tested him out in one of my runs before for like a cat festival. He didn't kill all the cats because in one of my runs, and as a result, it was just like took 1 billion years for the poison effect to show on every single cat.
Oh my god, Summer Shadow might take 5 minutes to get a CS off. I
Okay,
need
time to
test
go
this.
into the Surtur refrain quest. Get the CS off.
Well, good luck with that. My curiosity does not extend that far. All right, I generally believe that's everything everyone has to say. for
Zhurong
this
has
one.
nice eyebrows.
Oh yeah, duct tape eyebrows. I love the Jiro influence.
The eyebrows are bigger than his eyes. I cannot unsee.
They're
His buttons are pretty cool, like the pin buttons. Yeah.
very automate us. What was the last comment we read?
Volk. I
The
still
resistance
Heracles-
buff is first.
Yeah, that was
Which
the
one?
last one.
Which one?
The resistance buff.
Oh, I
is
see. The
cursed.
resistance buff is cursed. Okay. Well, I know who I will be using when we end up inevitably fighting Wolf and Destroy. Although knowing Life Wonders, they'll probably realize this and come up with a way to counter my counter, like with Descalipoca. I'm tempted to try this guy out with Mephistopheles. Combined price of contracts 10,000 extra damage with other debuffs, like units like Necros, and I imagine damage stacking of like. I'm pretty sure price of contract is a thing you apply to your allies that they get the debuff from, not something you apply to your enemies. So, I'm not. You can't really spread it either. So, I'm not sure about that. As for your first comment, I'm not really sure what to make of it with Wolf. Summer Zhurong and Zhurong is really funny. Yeah, it should be, since 5 debuffs from a single person, and if you actually get him to charge, you can put all those 5 debuffs all at once. Not that it matters, since Zhurong can just indefinitely refresh those debuffs.
Your battery will run out before the turn is over.
Yeah. Keep in mind that Zhurong's debuff refreshment isn't guaranteed, it's at 70%, so that's a bit sad. Like, there is a chance that you'll mess up your debuff stalling as a result. Tiny Red Panda Kid destroys lobbies by torturing his enemies through constant reapplication of Molysis. Pretty much. I'm very excited for his utility. I was excited when Gomon was first introduced because he was the first case of debuff refreshment, and this guy just turns it up to 11. But again, he can't spread it to like other enemies who don't have it. So the actual enemy has to have the debuffs. He can't just spread those debuffs to someone else like Gomon can. Tiny, I read that. So it's all his fault. Murder do be alright sometimes. Are you saying you're gonna hurt him? You're gonna hurt him? Well, it's okay. He has like a pretty nice crying face. This unit feels like an old one. Yeah, that's what some people are speculating, but it says outright in his research file that he's not from Orai, and supposedly like Zhurong from original Chinese mythology is from would be from Orai in that case. Is that right, Zalgus?
Would be from what?
Orai? How are you
I
pronouncing
mean, based on the name, because Horai is the gate for those mythologies.
Yeah, there you go. But nothing about his research profile really suggests anything. Nothing about his research profile suggests anything about mythology. It's just like, except for the last line, he's not from Horai. Tiny Red Panda Kid destroys players by making everything take conquer. Yeah, just never use Shenron for the next few days, I guess. Colors unlike anything on Earth. Yeah, he's got like very pretty eyes, even prettier than Kimun.
Both holes.
Yeah.
These people think they're so clever.
People are reading stuff they aren't supposed to. Though admittedly, it's probably my
These
fault.
people think they are so clever.
I'm just gonna, everyone around the sense reference except for me, so I'm just gonna go on. Ryota and Mori. Zhurong lore deepens, for sure. Red Panda locks you in eternal battle with the side of cuteness. Well, I wouldn't mind it with that cuteness. He got Gamma C eyebrows that works on him instead of Horkeu. Yeah, I guess. I can see the comparison being more made towards Gamma Chaos rather than Jiro. But yeah, I believe that's it, so let us move on to Sarutahiko, which will be covered by Zalgus. So go ahead.
Let me wait for the stream to catch up and actually change. Did you change it?
I did change it. Maybe you should refresh.
My goodness, I'm very far behind on the stream.
It hasn't changed yet for me either.
What?
Oh no, what if it's buffering? No, it's not buffering.
Guys are freaking out.
Right, so I have the guy who is kind of boring in terms of design, but so Sarutahiko is one of the other new unit on the banner, and he brings another unique buff that actually has an icon this time, and it's called Purification, which grants every turn start you remove a debuff from yourself. Despite the fact that it says acquire skill, it isn't actually affected by skill lock or bind or anything. So as long as you have the buff, you will be removing a debuff per turn.
Yeah.
So that can actually counter.
So it should
skill.
work like what's it called, like an AR in that case.
So that's cool. It's for turn start remove buffing. My mind immediately jumps to Jamboree Aizen for comparison, who removes like 3 buffs from allies. 3 debuffs from allies turn start around him, and then takes them onto himself, or some of them onto himself. So obviously he removes more, but they have to be close to Sarutahiko, and they have to be close to Aizen. But with Sarutahiko's Purification, you can move away from him after you get there, and it's also not affected by skill lock, so that's cool. It definitely, and also Sarutahiko is permanent, unlike Aizen, who is limited. So it definitely has its uses for that. Besides that, he has some other minor buffs to allies. He has Ardor, and he also is somewhat tanky on his own with Adamantine and Guts on move. I wish it wasn't a terrible rate of 50%, but they're both long-lasting buffs. So he only needs to trigger them once, really, unless he's trying to spam Guts, in which case good luck with that. So the other interesting part of this kit is Nourishment Strengthening, which is, I guess, designed to synergize with all the variants on banner who have nourishment all over the place. It basically just gives them a 2.5x attack buff while they have nourishment, and combined with nourishment that becomes a 3.75 buff, so pretty good. They both last the same amount of turns, 3 turns, so if you sync them up, then they'll be wearing off at the same time, so you can refresh them. But you need someone else to do that, because Sarutahiko cannot do that. The Ardor rate's pretty nice at 90%, at least, so pretty much all of his rates are pretty good, actually, except Adamantine, unfortunately.
Yeah, he does,
and Guts. Yeah, but his ally support is all high rates, so that's good. I'm tired of these low rate ally buffs. His CS applies Purification once again, and at full start it's to the entire board, which is great. Further goes with that, you don't need to stand anywhere near Sarutahiko to benefit from his Purification, so he's pretty good for countering debuffs like in a very wide range, and a bit of healing, and also Guts to himself. One thing to note about Sarutahiko that is nice is that his kit is largely intact as a 3-star. He still gives Purification and Nourishment Strengthening and Ardor, and they're all still at high rates. The difference is that the ranges are lower. His Purification goes from 1 square diamond, 2 square diamond to, I think, 1 square around, was it?
Yeah, it is. And 1 square around is still decent, honestly.
Yeah, it's still pretty good. It's still phase star, it's still 90%. And his Ardor goes from slash range, reverse, or behind to just 1 person behind, but it's still 90% rate. And Nourishment becomes directly adjacent, but it's still high rate at 8%. So his 3-star is definitely still useful. You can still use him for the Purification. His CS, unfortunately, goes from board wide to 1 square around south, so you do have to kind of stick near him for that, but it's still useful for you can still get Purification. So I'm surprised they made his 3-star so like pretty much all the gimmicks are intact, unlike Zhurong, who basically loses his gimmicks completely in his 3-star, so that sucks.
Zhurong saw his gimmicks, it's just that it's terrible range.
No, he doesn't have the buff refreshing, I think.
He thought he did. Did he not? I thought he did. I'm pretty sure he did. Do you guys remember if he had it?
He doesn't on his regular skills, I think.
I'm pretty sure.
He only has the decrease. He only has decreased HP after debuff.
That's such a weird thing to remove. Okay.
So yeah, now he can punch people and He can give it the debuff still. Wow.
Yeah, he doesn't have the debuff refreshing at all.
Yeah, so I noticed immediately because me 3-star man.
Zhurong 3-star trash confirmed.
It's also blow range, so he wouldn't even be good at it anyway. So Sarutahiko doesn't have that problem. You can still use 3-star if you so desire. And he has this on leaving skill that just, I mean, it's pretty good. Fairly large heal, lots of CP, and remove all debuffs. So, I mean, I guess you could plan around that, I suppose. But his main draws is definitely purification and nourishment strengthening, I guess. I would say more purification, honestly. So, for debuff countering. But besides that, I didn't bother thinking of any ARs for him to use.
Yeah, I think
I think the Triton and Dagon are pretty big on him because it gives him an additional form of debuff resistance to himself and the allies. But also, I'm kind of biased on that because mine.
Yeah, I didn't notice that at all.
But I think it's still pretty neat. It's 50%. It's an additional chance to block debuffs. I think if you're going to bring Sarutahiko, you're probably going to bring him for purification, really.
Just, Mike Irby, Mike.
No! I'm trying my best. Is it alright? No?
Yeah, it's better now for sure.
What I was saying is basically, I think that the AR is pretty neat to have another form of debuff prevention because I think his strongest.
I can already see your mind, Irby. Let me see it. You're
His-
thinking
his
of stacking
strongest part is
nullify
purification.
debuff and reflect debuff and purification. That's what you're thinking
Yes.
of.
Yes, of course. Why use Jamboree Azen when you can just stack those? There you go. I think it's pretty neat. I think it was about time we got an additional debuff prevention buff, which is pretty neat. It's not. It doesn't work exactly like the other ones, but
Yeah, you still get it, but like
it is.
it prevents buildup.
It is even better, I'd say, because if the enemies hit you twice and we apply the same debuff, I mean, it's just going to remove it at the start of the next turn, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, so cases where they have like some sort of advantage against a debuff, but for some reason they only apply it after attacking, you can totally cheese it with this. But yeah, I think that skill of like rescuing the team in case of a team wipe, it's neat, but it also kind of conflicts with his like gut/adamantine ability. So I don't know. It just feels like it's thematic, but not really well designed as a result.
I don't think it's that bad. I mean, obviously you want him to be at the front lines, and so that he can bestow ardor to the back lines.
Yeah, but he has guts, right?
Lines.
So it's like everyone else will die, but then he'll be
Yes,
alive. So it's like what?
The idea is that he dies because his guts doesn't proc. Big brained.
Well, in that case, like everyone else will probably be fine in first place by that point. I'm thinking more of like unavoidable like board wipes. He could like save your team in that case. I guess it would still work out if like the enemy had like remove all buffs at the same time, which to be fair has happened with some of the Shiva stuff in the main quest. But yeah,
Something I noticed was that his HP feels a bit low for someone who's supposed to be upfront and tanky. It's not like the worst, but it doesn't feel very high.
Might have Triton.
my God, Irby.
I mean, it is right. The stats are pretty close to each other.
Yeah, I guess he's more offensive technically, even though you'll really be using him for offense. He is a decent in facilitating damage though, although you will need someone who has nourishment. But this is kind of baffling he doesn't apply nourishment himself here. It's just, I mean, I don't mind it because it forces more mindful team compositions. But, in the past they kind of just like, oh, they have Conflagration in the kit? Obviously they have to have Burn Somewhere too. But, of course,
I mean,
sure, not really.
If he did apply nourishment, then he would be getting like 2.4, 2.4, 1.5, and 2.5. So basically, like, lean and to like 3 units. or
Reverse
less,
Leanin.
right? So
Make
like,
that happen, Life Wonders.
I think I don't know if it was mentioned, but Purification's turn start application.
Mhm.
The exact timing of this is after a unit's actual turn start skills, so not before.
Well,
ARs.
it seems like yeah, I did say it was like ARs, but I meant in the sense that it wasn't affected by skill lock. In reality, statuses or skills as a status are applied last in the order of everything, which is also why I didn't mention this before, but for in Xolotl, when he gives everyone the ability to grant crit to self and evasion to self, you can't spread it with units that are like on move, because first they'll move and spread all their current buffs, and then they'll lose all those buffs, and then they'll get crit and evasion right after. So it's like ordering is important here, and any skill you receive as a status will always be applied last in relation to all other skill effects that are triggered by that activation condition.
Right. I just wanted to point that out because if you somehow had a unit with a turn start debuff, I don't know which one, then this purification would remove the turn start debuff. I was using it with Shaman,
that would be
but yeah.
not good for those reliant on debuffs. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, don't use him with Wolf then, because you'll remove his curse instantly, which will turn him into paper.
If there does happen to be a unit who does have like debuffs as a way to like sort of like nerf their damage or to basically like sort of neuter them, then you could use them.
There's no like Jamboree,
Heracles, let's go.
Kagutsushi.
That's only face start, man. It's not really that big of a deal, the weakness, because it's only one turn. But yeah.
All right. Well, it's as an option since I know you use them. I thought I'd bring it up. Okay, I think. Does anyone else have any other comments? If not, then I guess Zalgus. Is it Zalgus? Or is it... Yeah, it's Zalgus who can read the comments. Yeah.
No, it's someone else. They can read it.
I'm sorry.
Right, well,
Loki looks like a mop.
Okay. I mean, he does look like a super Tenjin, which is... I'm pretty sure people were making that joke when he was originally revealed on the...
I think he looks cute when he's smiling with his teeth, with his mouth closed.
With those mouth closed.
I don't know how to say it, but he has two smile expressions. Okay, I can't differentiate them.
Or are his teeth clenched?
Yes, that's. I think that's a cute expression.
I haven't seen all the skins, but one of his 4-star skins expressions really like annoyed me because it was the first one that showed in Wiki and it looked fucking identical to his 3-star. So I was like, this is the laziest 4-star drawing ever.
Yes,
right. They basically copy pasted.
I did notice that both his faces look. It's kind of like Leonan, where the heads look the same,
but just at an angle. This one doesn't even have the angle. It's just
it's just barely slightly different. So that did jump out at me when I first looked at it.
When the banner revealed, I thought that they like accidentally put his 3-star art onto the the gacha banner art. It was very funny.
Yeah, not the best way to sell a new unit. A lot of people have mixed opinions about how he appears, like in terms of attractiveness, but a lot of people seem to have the same opinion when it comes to another feature of his body. So
yes, we'll get to that. King bulges them up. I don't think he's that generic. His 4-star is a bit on the boring side. Yeah, do agree. His 4-star is a little bottom heavy, we'll say, a little more. So go check lower down if you're curious and you don't already know.
Hooray, we have another amputee rep. But yeah, it's kind of crazy how far his art has grown that way. Let's just move on. I think we're done talking about him.
He's hot.
He's alright, I guess. I don't mind him. Alright.
Eh.
We will now be talking about everyone's favorite character, Mineaki. This will be led by Irby, if you will.
Please tell me you used the handsome Mineaki. Oh.
No, I didn't use it either, unfortunately. No, I'm sorry.
No.
I didn't use his Baishonen art either, but it wasn't a missed opportunity. But I know. So let's talk about Mineaki then. I think Mineaki is a pretty great unit, to be honest. The more I analyze it, I mean, the more I thought he was actually pretty strong, to be honest, for a 4-star variant. He's not super strong, but he's pretty strong. He basically fills that niche of low range units that have a different function when they miss and when they attack. And he's pretty much a hybrid support that provides a bit of everything, depending on which role he's taking at the moment. So when he misses, he has a pretty high chance to apply protection, concentration, and 12 CP to allies directly adjacent to him, and also blessing at a slightly lower chance. These effects also apply to himself outside concentration, so that's pretty neat. Tangaroa could never before his skill evolution.
I don't
It's pretty neat.
but
Let's move on. And when he hits someone, he has a pretty high chance to apply fear, stigma, and reduce 40 CP on a 2x3 radius around them, which is or rather not exactly two, basically 2x3 range in front of him, basically, not around. It is a pretty high chance to apply these debuffs, especially fear. There's actually not a lot of 90% and above fear inflictions that can be refreshed at such a higher range, to be honest. The most we had so far is probably Shiro at his 80% on magic range, and he also has a chance to apply skill lock, which is also slightly lower, but it's still pretty. It's still on the same high range, which is honestly quite insane. You can lock opponents. You can increase the damage of the party in various ways. You can protect them, heal them, NCB charge them, and on CS if you manage to build up his CP, which he actually can build his own CP when he misses. So
yeah, it's a decent amount.
He changes to thrust range and increases, basically further increases the effect range of his on-hit effects by changing to thrust range, and also increases his chance to apply these debuffs and buffs by giving himself concentration, which is actually very, very neat, because it allows him to give him a 3x3 range on all these debuffs, which is quite insane, to be honest. And the only downside to this is that you're probably going to take forever to get all these effects to happen, because they're all on different skills. They all have different trigger timings. So if one of them
Right.
if one of them miss, one of them can miss and the others can all hit, and they're not exactly if this one hits, the other one hits too. No, they're all independent from each other, and that is also partly why it is very slow on its application, especially now with the release of Zhurong. But maybe if they manage to fix that issue, maybe be a lot better to use, without his effects taking forever to apply. Being low range also gives him access to pretty good ARs for his role. You can equip the Kagotoshi ER
For
that
combo?
has yes, for combo, so that he has an additional chance to apply his buffs, and also give more CP on top of that.
Yeah, or debuffs when he actually hits.
Or debuffs for the next turn. You can also equip the Goemon and set AR that allows him to pull enemies to his range so that he can hit them and debilitate them. And he can also equip the Ebisu Benten AR if you really want to. If you want a cheaper option, and the extra CP will help you because he's pretty much going to be. You pretty much want him to be at the center of your team so that he can buff them and apply all those neat debuffs to them.
Just to emphasize how much of a good jack of all trades Mineaki is, he has both tanking, so protection to self and allies, healing, blessing to self and allies, and damage dealing with concentration and stigma. And he also, combined with fear and skill lock, does a very strong amount of ability debilitation, because if they're skill locked, they can't do anything except move, and they can't move with fear. And it even mitigates building up their charge as well. So he like does everything all at once. Well, you know, maybe half of everything all at once if he misses, and then the other half when he attacks. And I think that's pretty cool. It's still kind of simple though in terms of like nothing technically new has been added, but in terms of how much has been packed in, it's nice that he's kind of like an all-for-one wonder. And of course, he is the perfect unit to put in slot 1 for the tall quests.
The cooler Suzuka.
Exactly.
Okay.
I don't have much to add for this. It's a very simple kit. I think it's for sure overloaded, but he deserves it after his shitty permanent. To be honest.
Hey, evasion
He's kind of
was
like
unique.
that. He's kind of like that. I can be your angel or I can be your devil meme. Like,
Yes.
Maybe
because like the
that's
protection side is kind of like his like it's kind of like his yo-yogi like student affection thing where he basically just becomes like
Mineaki's a good caring teacher.
Yeah.
he basically like just stole like
two-faced.
Fuki's stuff, right? Fuxi's stuff. Because
Uh,
he gets like protection and concentration blessing. Isn't that his like 8 trigram stuff?
yeah, except he can do it all
Oh,
at
yeah.
once.
Yeah. And you can finally do another regular Kurogane like snipe range meme with his
Oh my god!
Spear,
Snipe
like,
range! Good
kill off.
point. That's a good point.
Completely forgot about that.
Finally, it's actually useful. It was like there's so it seems like it could have been useful, but weren't that actually many units who could have used it. But because of just the sheer number of debuffs he can offer, and that's just restricted to blow range. You can get good mileage out of it now. So, a good find milk. Is that it for this unit then?
I mean, he's fairly simple. He just has a lot of stuff on it.
All right.
Oh right. The devil side is kind of like what he does during this event. Yeah. That's pretty fun.
I will find out 2 years from now, I'm sure. Since I don't read translations unless it's official. Anyways, if that's it, then you're free to read out the comments, Sophie.
Where did we left off again? He thought right, and I thought Summer Hef deck slip was pushing it. Yeah.
Talking about Saruta.
Yeah. It definitely pushed the bounds of something. His default expression just rides the fine line of being 1,000-yard stare for me. If anything, it's good to have a version of Mineaki that actually does something. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I wanted to use Mineaki as a meme so many times, but
The evasion stuff wasn't good enough. I mean, I guess.
yeah. Honestly, Mineaki is an underrated king, and I will legit die on this hill. Mineaki gives so many creepy, shady vibes, but he really cares for
I
his
know,
students.
it's like, there's so many people that are like, oh my gosh, he's so creepy, I am. But then there's like, every single time he appears in a story in the context of yogis, he's like a saint, I swear to god.
He's San from Undertales.
Not Sans, just Sans.
Sans. Just San. But I honestly like him as a unit. Being able to perform 2 roles is a neat concept. Reminds me of Christmas Pollux. Yeah, it's pretty much like Christmas Pollux, where you can do stuff when he misses, or when he hits as well. And yeah, I've grown to appreciate him a bit more despite his tendencies. I actually don't know what his tendencies are outside
Just him talking with
Not-
his tongue
not
out
gluing-
and creeping people.
not looking generically attractive, I guess.
Yeah.
I blame his artists for those tendencies, since the old art does him very little favors. A hit or miss base kit seems like an interesting choice here, but more often than not he's going to be messing with red range. Still an interesting choice though. There is ways, I mean,
his miss effects are arguably better than his on-hit effects anyways.
it depends on the situation. If you want to skill lock the board or stop them all on its tracks, it's
Yeah.
really, really strong as well. You hit or miss, I guess. No! That meme died. Sorry, Jeva. I just right now got this unit. Well, congratulations, you got a good unit. Which, honestly, all the units are pretty good on this one, to be honest.
Yeah.
Kurogane, you're a healer, but you've been blessed, Azzy. Mineaki, I'm a healer, but again. Bless, he seems cool, but not so. Maybe next time.
He's a 4-star, so.
Yeah.
It is so pretty neat to get something. I remember being a bit creeped out by his art like when I first started playing the game, but have gotten used to it over a long time. This variant's artwork makes him look nice artistically and less creepy.
You should see his alt skin when he's playing his hair back. Ooh, daddy.
the by shonen pose.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just put him back to get the coin to skill level him.
I can't believe we had our Fujoshi bait all along. It was Mineaki.
It was Mineaki all along.
Okay, if that's it, we shall move on to the... I did not show this graphic, let me just... this is Irby's graphic that he made. I forgot to show it off this entire time.
How dare you!
You didn't say you needed it up! But anyways...
I give it to you to put it up. But it
I
is
did
very...
put it up, I just didn't switch it. Alright, you want to say anything with it up now?
It also didn't have the prop weights anyways, but I thought it was neat to visualize the ranges a bit more on his stuff.
Okay, take a moment to absorb this before we move on since we're ready to talk about him. But yeah.
We can move on to the super not interesting AR and the super interesting AR.
Alright, wait, is that it for the units? I thought, okay, we're moving on to the ARs. Woo, we're in the home stretch. And it only took us 2 hours and 20 minutes to not even reach the end. Alright, so the 3-star AR actually seems pretty neat, despite what other people might be saying, because it's kind of like a permanent purification, as long as they miss, and only 50% of the time. So remember, you can max this AR because it is it drops from the events, drop quest, as well as you can get 80 copies from the shop. So ignore the lower rates, it just skips right to assuming it'll give you 50%. Freeze resistance, who cares about that? But I just think the remove debuff is neat, and you can put this unit on anyone that is expected to get debuffs but not necessarily benefit from. So pretty much what I'm saying is equip this on Jamboree Aizen. I don't really know who else you'd want to equip this on, but a Jamboree Aizen seems like the perfect fit for this AR.
If only it's Sam that could use it.
And
I think
can't have anything.
Daikoku can, I guess, if you really want to.
You mean his like variant? No,
No, he's regular,
he's done range though.
but Daikoku can equip it.
Oh yeah, my bad. He's on the card. I just freaking yeah. That's young Daikoku in the artwork, by the way. I don't know why he's young there, but just roll it.
It's lore! You're not supposed to know.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Sarutahiko still has very large assets. The hell?
Those are
I
pretty
guess it's a common... Well, it's by the same artist, so no wonder.
Oh, well, maybe he's just packing.
God damn it! Now I can't stop staring at it. Anyway, yeah. Besides saying equip this on Jamboree Aizen, I don't really have anything else to say about this. What do you guys think?
I think it's chipped, but sure.
Cry.
Probably one of the worst ARs.
I saw 50% and ignored it.
Yeah, pretty much. Trash. Goodbye.
I can't believe it. Oh well. I mean, it's not game breaking, I guess. But any thoughts on this?
Unlike the next one.
Okay, no one has any thoughts on this besides it sucks. Really? Really?
I don't know. The Daikoku is neat, I guess.
The art is cute.
Kind of looks pasty, Daikoku, with like him being young and all.
I actually couldn't tell that was him when I first looked at it. I had to look at the unit list.
His hands look weird though, but other than that,
Oh right,
pretty good.
yeah.
They're like sausages or something. A lot of looking at this art for this AR discussion. I think, yeah, let's not stretch this out. That's it. I'll just read out if there's any comments on this, the comments. Let's see. I'm broke. Okay, freeze resistance looks nice enough. Freeze is not relevant. Young Daikoku. Man, where do the years go? It goes into playing this gacha for too damn long, that's for sure. He aged like fine wine. I mean, yeah, he did age pretty well. Some would say anyways. Sarutahiko. Hey, look. It's you when you first started working here. I guess. You could tell it was him because that outfit. I could tell it was Sarutahiko from that enormous bulge. Young Dai is better than old. It would be neat if we could, at the end of the event, choose between the two, but probably not going to make sense lore-wise to play with the young one. Unlike with Ophion, though, I guess. I mean, it doesn't make sense that you could play with both with Ophion either. Whatever. Don't overthink it. Let's just go to the final topic of this discussion. The free AR that Milk if you will, please talk about this AR and its restrictions and its utility and all that. Go ahead.
So this AR has two effects. It is it gives 10. Was it 10? Well, it gives a max 25% EXP when you max it. So that's EXP to your units, and it gives glints to allies on the entire board on face start. So two both really good effects, primarily for dungeons. So now your best support when running dungeons is Triton 3 with this AR.
If you
This
don't
is
have
a
a
5-star.
Dead 5, cry.
Yeah, so this is a 5-star limited AR in the shop, so you have to get it now while it still lasts. And its restrictions are magic and snipe. So yeah.
And beast tamers, I guess. But it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
There's
only-
like 4 beast tamers like this, right? So yeah.
I can't really imagine you wanting to equip it on a beast tamer, but the Yoto would be good. Besides Triton.
Equip it on Alp so Leib can get that skill evolution.
No.
Yeah. So glints to the entire board for your allies is actually pretty good because it's basically just like skills, like a free skill seed if like
For
your
everyone,
unit
yeah.
doesn't rely on guts. Yeah. Well, for everyone except for the person themselves. Yeah. What else is there? The art is pretty cute. It's by like Sea Monster Pink or something. But the voices are really annoying because it's like Gucci. Yeah.
So you mean
And
just
he's like
Cushy's
yelling
voice.
at.
I remember
Well,
you,
he's like
you mentioned
he's
in the
like
comments
yelling
you're
at
like you're
Leib.
angry it wasn't Leib or something.
Well, he's like yelling at Leib because he's sleeping, so he's like more annoying than usual.
That's just like a reference to the one like event scene with Kushi and Leib, wasn't it? It was like one of the event side stories or whatever it was.
I feel like it's like a common occurrence. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
probably.
think it might have been in like New Year's, like the.
Oh
I
yeah,
think it was
that's
like
right.
New Year's,
something
like
that.
the Golden Bursty event, maybe. I forget.
I thought it was the Golden Week one, where they did a bunch of unit side stories, and I can't remember.
It's been too long, but it happened somewhere. Just look it up. Google
Yeah,
it,
there was,
forward.
it was like the morning of one of the beast tamers, and they're like Kuchi like cooks for everyone and wakes everyone up and stuff. Actually, yeah, I think it was the Golden Bursty one, wasn't it? They were talking about
Yeah,
Yeah, it
this
was
is
the
like a
Golden Bursty
shrine.
one.
masters and servants and whatnot.
Yeah, they visited the shrine there or something. But
Kushi.
yeah,
Kushi does not deserve.
this
a
is a
stronger-
really good AR
It is
to
rare.
get. Everybody should get it while it still lasts.
Yes, please,
Stop.
please max this out. You will regret it if you don't. It's ridiculous how good it is. This
Yeah.
is something you would pull for.
Yeah, this is just to think about it. We've had an AR that had glint before, only to one person, but having the ability to grant glint to the entire board is ridiculous at 100% too. So
Just bring corp
Everyone
card,
should
guys.
get it.
What are you talking about?
No,
Yeah.
no,
I mean, they basically stole. I was gonna bring that up actually. They basically just stole like corpse skill. Like you don't get protection. But,
no one
yeah,
ever says
basically
corp
that.
card's broken, right? So my take on this is, I mean, of course it's stronger just because you don't have to bring corp card and you have a free slot as a result. But at the same time, I just see this as like it's a pretty good effect, amazing effect for mentor runs because you're bringing mentors with low rate effects that, it would be miserable without. But for otherwise, I think it's like it's an okay AR because you have better choices. You have Smoky God, you have Kanan Tangaro Izamna with the RK art. It's like this is just, once for one glint,
yeah, but it means I don't have to skill seed Leonan.
I guess.
Yeah,
Just bring
I
corporate
really
down.
actually, yeah, like I actually use Corp for his like phase start glint, especially for when I'm doing like weird RNG bullshit with Tsathoggua. So
Oh.
yeah,
It looks like if Corpcore was undead after level 80 dungeons released, he's definitely dead now.
goodbye. No one will miss you, Corpora.
He's only good emojis though. Anyway, yeah. It'll be only available for a limited time. Expect maybe 3 months or so, and who knows if I'll ever come back. So yeah.
okay.
Is that it for this, guys?
This is why you save up 6k shards.
Yeah, pretty much. It's going. I was going to say something else. It's also pretty neat if you put it on Christmas tree as well. If you're doing fast dungeon clears.
I would do that, but I'm putting it on Triton, so I will.
Yeah, good, because I think Toji is going to not Toji. Gio is going to remove this.
Gio's been talking too much.
No, too much Toji influence. I think Gio said he was going to remove his Triton anyway, so yes, I will need one at least.
Okay, I'll keep mine up on, except for the rare occasions where Zalkus like messages me and he's like, "Okay, put up your lucky cat." I can't believe the meta's like centering on like shit units now with like over centralized like resource upskills.
Triton is not shit.
Well,
Yeah,
he's a 3-star,
very good.
and it's like I'd rather keep up Kotaro in my water slot than Triton, for obvious reasons.
But no one uses Kotaro anymore.
Tell that to Hidden or Murasaki or Zalgus or a number of other people.
Yeah, I still use the Katara for
No, why?
because there are a few fast plays I can do with him.
Wait, for which
that's
for which
fair.
quest?
Like for like the what's his face, Jean Jean quest. I do Christine for the first phase, and then I have Kurapika nuke the second phase.
Well,
You mean
why
People
Kotaro?
still do that.
do people do that quest anyways?
Fire
What do you
Quilla.
mean? The owner medallions.
I have like
well,
235.
I have so
owner
many of
medallions.
those.
I do it for the fire quota, not
Oh,
not
I see.
for a
Yeah,
thing.
he actually does
Oh, okay.
ones. He doesn't
Yeah.
do the
Alright.
380 ones.
I just do fire dailies. Even
I
though it's like a waste of.
I have too many
Yeah.
stamina bolts, so I don't really care what.
I
I
usually
just do whatever's the fastest.
just do dungeons or then just spam the coin dungeon 5 stamina or some shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me read the comments.
Okay, good.
Okay. I thought he was some unnamed character that would probably be brought in later into the future. Haha, no. The AR that made me no longer need to skill seed Linan. Well,
Yeah, see,
the glint like wears off, but I guess like Linan, if you're using Linan, you better click clear. So yeah, sure. This AR card's artwork looks so soft and cute. Yeah, I would recommend checking out the artist's Twitter, which you can do if you visit hostmo.wiki. I need this AR. I didn't know this exists.
It
Yeah,
just
I
came
guess
out,
they didn't
so-
really announce it too well, but
Yeah,
if
they
you follow
announced
their
it
Twitter,
like
you would have seen it.
Saturday. They announced it like
Yeah.
Saturday or something.
Yeah, but I guess like not everybody is in the loop, so yeah, check it out.
Didn't they like
Mhm.
announce it the day of, and not even with the rest of the announcements?
Yeah, because it's on like a Saturday, so yeah. Also, the AR that made Triton become the best tutor forever. Well, he's like a mentor, but which is kind of different from a tutor. But yeah,
I'm still
he's
using-
already kind of the best mentor, I think.
No, Avargas.
Arga.
Please.
Okay, well,
I don't know. About that.
I use Triton a lot, but mostly for stalling. So yeah, he's essential in stalling. I'm not sure about Dress Biscuit though.
Hashtag Kotaro is so last season.
I'm sorry, but was Xolotl existing, he'll forever be even more relevant.
Kotar what? Never heard of him. 4-star Kotaro is in my all-range charge team. Tinda, Christine, Linan, and Kotaro.
Can you
Oh yeah, I
count
run
to
this
three?
1-2-3 team. Yeah.
1, 2, 3 teams are
I
fine.
use this team for Berserkers, Tower of Babel. Yeah. Avarga x Mineaki Supremacy.
Oh, are you
I
talking
don't know
about
about them.
I mean, yeah, if you're bringing this AR for the EXP, of course you would also bring the Mineaki Avarga AR. So yeah, in terms of calculations, well, maybe no one cares about that, but the total amount you can get now to pull into a single unit that's not a mentor, I believe is 140% additional EXP to the base amount. So with the dungeons, the level 8 dungeons reward you 40k EXP. With all the proper setup, with your maxed, looking up to my teachers, treating Gene AR at max level 100, with your Yoyogi Teacher AR with Mineaki and Abarga being at max level 100, and having 2 of these Sweet Dream ARs, one from support. By the way, this AR actually works on support. That's the main difference between that and the Mineaki one. With this one, as well as the support one being maxed at 100, and bringing 5 mentors in total, that nets you 26k EXP. So that is pretty delicious. That's a lot of boosts as an equivalent. I forgot the exact number, but it's a lot, let's just say.
Did you say 26k?
I said 96k.
Oh, okay. I heard it wrong. Never mind.
I heard 26k as well.
I'm sorry, I was running out of breath, so I was slurring my words, but oh well. But yeah, I think, is that everything for this unit? Did we talk? You had to come through this AR.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's all the comments.
All right, then we can finally conclude. After 2 hours and 40 minutes, we can say our goodbyes and talk about first. How do you feel about this event?
I think this is probably my favorite event of the year, even though there's only been
Very difficult comparison, right?
or 4.
No.
It has good theme, good kids. I mean, not the sauna theme, but I think the hell theme is pretty good. But I think I also really like all the kids in here, despite hating Zhurong for killing the game.
When they look at that.
Yeah, I think the story is pretty interesting as well.
I don't know about the story, of course I'm not reading it, but I do think they really went all out with these kits in terms of giving more than half of everyone and everything like a special new buff or status or some gimmick like that. They used to be rare and, just mix and match otherwise, but now it's just like they're in the minority, the ones that are just like Mineaki. And even then, with Mineaki, who's just bread and butter everything, it's still a lot.
Life Wonder's got new toys to play with, so they're getting the most out of them.
Oh, thank God. This is what I was waiting for. When I first saw these, status skills as a status stuff, I was like, the potential. It's coming! This is the event where it's finally happening. And I'm looking forward to the challenge quest as a result, too.
I feel like Mineaki overshadowed it though, right? Because his kit is kind of like the best, even with like no gimmicks.
Yeah, he doesn't have any particular gimmicks, but his kit is so overloaded that it overshadows a bit everyone else.
I mean, he's strong, but I don't see myself using him outside of this event, just because it's like, he does a bit of everything pretty good, but I could just still use Leanna if I really wanted damage buffs. If I wanted more bounce team, yeah, Mineaki would be a better option, but again, like, you know how I feel about units that don't have perfect 100 skill weights and everything. And I don't know Mineakis are that, sadly.
Skill see them.
Skill see him and give him and
God.
use the AR. There you go.
These are the people I choose to hang out with, people.
But yeah, as for the event, I think I prefer the Night Glows event in terms of, well, mostly the battle theme. This battle theme is alright, but it doesn't really wow me.
The battle theme wasn't interesting, but did you hear the story theme?
No, because I haven't done like any of the story, or I skipped it.
I like all of them, to be honest, but I do like the story theme a lot more than all the others.
I'll link it to you later, Zelkus. Toto shared it to me this morning, and actually played as the first song in the stream.
Oh, I forgot to say something. I really like the amount of skulls that are on Daikoku's art that are very hidden. There are like 1 million skulls on his art.
Yeah, it's very morbid. Like, it actually makes me sad. Between the title of his card and his research file and just the skills area, Daikoku is one sad existence.
I actually really like the fast-paced zithers and music. The shop theme is pretty good, I think.
Fast-paced user interface? I guess.
The
music. The music.
It's like the zither. That's like the instrument.
Ah, I see.
It's called like a guzheng or something. Chinese.
Oh, that
I
thing.
I just say zither because that's the instrument category.
I see. It's... I just like the story scene more. The others are kind of meant to be honest. But, yeah. I will poke Toto about it too. Like, provide it for you guys later. I'll just read out the comments and then I'll close out the stream. Is that all right with you guys?
No.
Yeah. Huh?
What?
Yes. No, I was kidding.
Okay.
That's all.
What did I miss? Oh, the whole stream. Oh, it's Looster. Hey,
Hello.
long time no see.
Hello.
Glad to see you joining us again, even though it's at the end. Yes, Duckling Train is right. You missed everything. Nice stream. Good work. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. First time actually being able to stay for the whole stream. How did of all the streams you decide to stay for, this is actually the longest stream we've ever had. That's kind of bananas. You actually decide to stay for this.
I thought we had a 3-hour one before.
We never had a 3 hour before. This is approaching 3 hours though. We've had one that was like 2 hours and something minutes, but not 3 hours.
It had a lot to talk about as well.
Yeah, I was anticipating this. Jesus Christ. Sarutahiko artist. Wait, thanks for the stream? Yeah, I think that's what he's saying. Let's see. Never gonna happen again, but it was fun. Oh, yeah, it was definitely fun. Thank you for joining us the entire time and dropping comments here and there, even though I can't remember what specific comments you left. Sorry. Sarutahiko artist has been waiting for a long time. I don't recognize artists usually. The only one that I was caught surprised by was Zero, which is like, that happened after the fact. Night glows for Zakasuga and battle theme. No comment. This is like the 4th event of the year. Pardon?
Well, the Nightglows theme is cool.
Oh. The entire Nightglows music catalog was really cool. It was very different from your usual Gambit, actually conveying the sense of space and technology and all that. Very different from World Life Wonder's usual action catalog. This is like the 4th event of the year, right? Being Daikoku suffering. It's kind of like the 4th one. The first one was Valentine, second one was Nightglows or something, third one was Summer Adventure, so yeah, this is the 4th one. Hey, I'm sorry for missing it. I'll rewatch it because I'm actually interested in these kids. Yeah, if you have 3 spare hours, good luck. Thanks for the time, kids. It was awesome.
Just do ×2 speed.
True. I do that for most videos, to be honest. By the way, there is a 2x speed feature on YouTube. Most of you should be using it. It'll take a while to get used to, but can't live without it after. Anyway, that is everything. Thank you for joining us today. It was fun to talk about. I didn't mind it too much, and it's finally time for us to leave. Alright, on 3, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Bye.
Bye.
I didn't hear you, August.
You didn't?
No.
I said it.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.